Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Residents in Saldanha Bay have gathered outside a community centre where judgments in the Jocelyn Smith trial is expected to be handed down today. The missing girl's mother and her co-accused are set to hear their fates. State prosecutors and the defence wrapped up their closing arguments in the Jocelyn Smith trial this week. The child's mother and two of her accused, Jacqueline Paulus and Stefano van Rijn, are charged with kidnapping and human trafficking for the child's disappearance last year. Carlo Peterson has more.
Defence attorneys representing the accused believe the state has a weak case against their clients. Lawyers for Kelly Smith, Jacqueline Paulus and Stefano van Rijn this week centred their closing arguments around the credibility of the state's main witness, Laurentia Lombard. Lombard implicated Apollos and Van Rijn in Smith's alleged plot to sell Jocelyn to a Sangoma for 20,000 rand. However, the former accused buckled under cross-examination and often refused to answer questions during her testimony. The state showed the court how details in Lombard's testimony relating to the 20,000 rand for Jocelyn is corroborated in the confession statement of Jacqueline Apollos and the testimony of another witness, Stephen Kutsia. Prosecutors Aldous Swanepoel said the accused's decision not to testify could also prove pivotal to Judge Nathan Erasmus's ruling. Erasmus is expected to deliver his judgment this morning. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News, Saldanha Bay.
In the capital, the EFF plans to march to the whites-only settlements of Kleinfontein in Pretoria. The community has recently drawn attention for its segregationist policies, similar to those in Oranje in the Northern Cape. The EFF says more than 30 years into democracy, Kleinfontein cannot continue to exist as an exclusively white community. Alfara Mushwana reports.
Are black people allowed to come and live here?
Your question, it was directly about race. My answer is directly about culture. So anybody of any colour that fits the Afrikaner culture, that applies successfully, will be able to live here.
That was Kleinfontein spokesperson Donnie De Beer explaining to EWN what it takes for someone to be admitted to live at the whites-only community. The settlement has recently faced growing public attention, with both the EFF and MK party expressing outrage over its continued segregationist policies. The Red Berets are expected to visit Kleinfontein this morning to voice their frustration, labelling the settlement as a pro-apartheid enclave. Despite the criticism, Kleinfontein maintains that it's not a whites-only community, but rather one focused on preserving the Afrikaner culture. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
ANC tripartite alliance partner COSATU says gains made in the fight for democracy cannot be lost to politicians who have little interest in service delivery and entrepreneurs in business with government for a quick buck. The warning follows what COSATU says is an honest assessment of governance as the country marked Workers' Day yesterday. While strides have been made to ensure fair labour practices, equity, improved wages and safer working environments, COSATU has called on government to address threats to public institutions. Nokayam Dambo reports.
Representing almost 2 million public servants, Trade Union Federation COSATU says weakened public institutions leave workers exposed. COSATU leader Zingiswa Losi says one of the threats is corruption.
We did not wage a struggle for us to see the democratic state become a playground yamasela.
The word amasela means thieves and has for years been used to describe and condemn those in power who have unduly benefited from state resources at the expense of South Africans.
The control of the state is about its machinery to eliminate poverty, unemployment and inequality, not to elevate tenderpreneurs.
Losi says clean governance is needed to make sure labour rights are protected and that labour reforms are fast-tracked. Nogukanya Mdambo, Eyewitness News in Mpumalanga.
And authorities in Pakistan-administered Kashmir have closed more than 1,000 religious schools over fears of possible military action from India. India blames Pakistan for a gun attack that killed 26 people last month, with Prime Minister Narendra Modi giving his military complete operational freedom. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has separately called India's top diplomat and Pakistan's Prime Minister to de-escalate tensions and maintain peace and security in South Asia. Gold is trading at $3,238.60 an ounce. The rand is at 18.47 to the dollar, 24.58 to the pound, 20.87 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $62.53 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got a slight backup reported on the N3 South. That's due to a car that is stuck on the road right near the Van Buren Road exit. Please be on the lookout for that one while traveling towards Hyde Park. We've got a car accident reported along Jan Smuts Avenue near Winnie Mandela Drive, causing some issues.
A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 20 and 23 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Residents in Saldanha Bay have gathered outside a community centre where judgment in the Jocelyn Smith trial is expected to be handed down today.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang, happy Friday. Welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show. It's wonderful to have you with us here on 702. I hope you're well this morning. And I hope you enjoyed Workers' Day yesterday. Hey, whether you were working, whether you were resting, whether you were on holiday, you took a drive. I hope you had a lot of fun. It's a Friday, and you know what we do every Friday. We do Gratitude Friday this hour. This is an opportunity for you to call us or send us a WhatsApp voice note and tell us what you are grateful for this week. What happened this week that put a smile on your face or reminded you how blessed you are? We want to celebrate with you. 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line is 0727021702. You can also post your comments on YouTube if you're watching and listening to the show on that platform. It's easy. All you have to do is go to the 702 YouTube page. Just say 702 YouTube, and you can watch what's happening in studio right now as we do the show. The police have finally made a breakthrough in their investigation regarding the 3 police officers who disappeared and whose bodies were found a few days ago. The police have now recovered the vehicle that the police officers were traveling in. So the question now is, what does the recovery of this vehicle from the Henops River yesterday tell us about what happened to the officers? And that's what the police are trying to figure out. For now, they think this could have been an accident because the vehicle they recovered looks like it overturned and hit a barrier before plunging into the river. Once again, kudos to the police for the efficiency with which they conducted this investigation. I mean, the police, everyone, the rescue and investigation teams, they worked tirelessly to recover the bodies of the officers and now this vehicle that they were traveling in. My question to you this morning is, are your questions answered now with this latest development? Because we spoke a lot about this earlier this week and there were just lots of questions because none of us could figure out what's happening because we are told that these are the bodies found in the river, but the vehicle they were traveling in wasn't found. Now that it's been found, are your questions answered? I know police haven't completely ruled out foul play, but for now they're working on the premise that this was an accident as they continue with their investigations. Let me know your thoughts, please. Did you hear what President Cyril Ramaphosa said yesterday about Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana? As calls grow for him to step down over his mishandling of this budget fiasco, the president has defended him. He says mistakes have been made, lessons have been learned, and Enoch is going nowhere. Listen to what he said yesterday.
We've drawn a lot of lessons from all this. And because we are drawing a lot of lessons from all this, this is something that we need to take on board, and it doesn't lead to a Minister of Finance resigning or stepping down. No.
So that's what the president said. What do you think about this position he's taken? Also, did you hear that house music playing in the background? Isn't it weird? Listening to like the president is speaking and then people are getting down there in the background. Between 10 and 11 o'clock, we're going to do the Across the Desk feature. And today, I'm hosting people who have taken a sabbatical. Have you ever considered taking a sabbatical? I certainly have. A sabbatical is an extended break, maybe a month or 2 years from your job. And during that period of time, as an employee, obviously you don't report for work, but you remain employed. Or maybe you are an employer even. You remain employed and typically you're receiving a salary, either full or partial. But this gives you a healthy amount of time to enhance your academic qualifications. You can pursue new interests as well. You can volunteer, you can travel, you can address, if maybe you were sick, address physical concerns, or even reprioritize your life and career. So it can also be an opportunity to manage the effects of professional burnout. I mean, we live in a world that glorifies constant hustle, right? So the idea of pausing to reflect and reset is so refreshing. Whether you use it for travel or you're pursuing a passion project, you're learning a new skill, whatever it is, a sabbatical can provide a fresh perspective and just fresh energy as well. So today on Across the Desk, we're going to be chatting to 3 people who have taken sabbaticals and have come back with new zeal for life. And if you've taken a sabbatical once yourself, I want to know how that was like for you. Did it mean anything? Did it make you more productive when you came back? What was your experience? So maybe you're considering taking one. Why are you doing that? So between 10 and 11 o'clock, that's the chat on the Across the Desk feature. And then at 11 o'clock, we're going to do our relationship and sex feature. And today we'll be discussing the intersection between pain and pleasure during sex. It's adult radio, so no kids allowed at 11 o'clock. The idea that pain could ever be pleasurable during sex might seem contradictory, even alarming to many people, right? But for some individuals, certain times of pain not only enhance intimacy, but they also deepen emotional connection and sexual satisfaction. So we'll delve deeper into that conversation at 11 o'clock. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Good morning, Clement and team. I am just grateful to be alive. I am grateful to be alive in the time that I am. Anytime I feel bad or I feel like complaining about life or how bad things are, I just go on YouTube and I watch videos about how life used to be in the medieval times. We are living in paradise.
Yeah, listen, gratitude for life is always good. And that's what I always say we must do. We must be grateful even for the smallest of things or things we may perceive as small. And I know a lot of us wake up in the morning and we act as if it's just it's a normal thing. But actually, that's a blessing. That's another opportunity at this life thing. So we need to learn to be grateful for the things we may see small. The fact that you've got money to travel to work. The fact that you've got a job. The fact that you have a place to sleep. The fact that you had a meal last night. There are people that didn't have that opportunity. Jasmine, you're calling us from Hyde Park. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Clement. Hope you're well.
I'm good, thank you. Go ahead.
Last week, so I'm actually grateful for the fact that I am still around, and I'm grateful for the fact that I have this opportunity to express the reason for that. So last week I was driving home from work. It wasn't late. It was about 6:15, 6:30, and at one of the intersections on a main road in peak hour traffic, I was actually attacked. I was in my car, and my car was viciously smashed and whatever by a vagrant at the robot. So he was smashing the window and he was trying to get the door open.
Oh my goodness.
And I had cars on the left and the right of me and the car in front of me. Because the intersection, the robots were not working, I couldn't proceed Anyway, I was just stuck.
Oh.
And I froze. And I thought to myself, dear God, what do I do? I just completely just froze. Then the only number that came to mind to call was 702. I phoned into 702 and I asked them to please assist me to get some help and get somebody out to this intersection and remove this human being from the intersection, because apparently he's a threat to motorists on every other day. He's completely, out of his mind. He was hurling abuse, and it was the most frightening attack that I've ever had to endure. And it was like, anyway, the cops called me. They got there. The next day I'm driving to work, and there he is again. This morning I'm driving to work, and there he is again. So, I'm grateful for the fact that for each day that I have in this country, as a single woman living and going to work every day, I'm just grateful for the fact that I survived these things. And this is the first attack I've had in this country.
Yeah. Oh, Jasmine, I'm so sorry about that. I can only imagine how terrifying that is and how triggering it is to see the same people who attacked you and you're seeing them on the same road. Oh, yeah. But thank you, Jasmine. Thank you for sharing that with us. And I wish you actually told us what. Can you check with Jasmine what that road is, so we can just warn other motorists as well to be extra careful when they're driving on the road? My goodness. Carol, you're in Midrand. Hi.
Hi, Clement. How are you?
I'm all right, Carol. Go ahead.
Good, thanks. I just wanted to comment on what I am grateful for. So yesterday, because it was a holiday, I decided to take my son out, and I took my eyes off him for a second, and then I lost him at the mall. It was the most terrifying thing. I just wanted to start crying, and luckily the security, they found him. I alerted security at the mall, and then I told them what he was wearing, and then they found him.
Sure, Carol, that can be so scary.
Yeah, it was the most scariest thing ever. I didn't want to imagine if I didn't find him, like what now?
Yo, listen, Carol, we are so grateful together with you that you were able to find your son. Thank you so much for calling, Carol in Midrand. Here's an interesting tweet from, who's this? AB. AB says, hi, Clement. Okay, I don't know if this is part of gratitude, AB, but AB says, Clement, I dreamt that you and I fell in love, and I was so sad to realize that it was a dream. AB, that's so sad that it was a dream, I guess. Have you guys had like weird dreams? Because I've had listeners call in on the open line over the years and say, I dreamt of you, Clement. I dreamt we were in the car, or I dreamt we were having lunch talking about this and that. And now AB says he dreamt that I had fallen in love with her, and she woke up and she was so sad to realize it was a dream. It actually made me remember a dream I once had. And please, feel free to share. It's a Friday. Let's have some fun. What are some of the weirdest dreams you've had? And maybe it's dreams about maybe people you admire, or maybe dreams about people you've always cherished and loved. It doesn't have to be people who are in the public. It could be, just anyone in general. Or maybe dreams you've had about celebrities. I have had dreams about celebrities. I remember I dreamed of Will Smith. So by now, if you've been listening to me over the last 5 years on the show, Will Smith is like one of my favorite dudes. I love Will Smith. I love his brain. I love his acting. I love everything about him, in his music. I love his family values, So I'm a big fan of Will Smith. I've read his books. I've read his wife's book. Well, ex-wife now. Is it ex-wife? Well, they didn't divorce, but they're separated. Yeah. Jada. And I remember I dreamt of Will Smith. Will Smith sent me an invitation to come to his house. And I went to his house. And when I got there, we had fun with his family. Like Abu Wilo were there, the kids, and we were braaiing. Like we had a braai, or barbecue, as Americans call it. And it was so lovely. Like I was basically a best friend of Will Smith. And I remember during that braai or barbecue, we decided to then fly to South Africa to go to the Kruger, because I was telling them about the Big Five, and we went to the Kruger, and then we hired like a big, lodge or whatever you call it, guest house, and then we lived in this one house with Will Smith, his wife, and the kids, and I was there in their presence for about a week. And that was I remember in the dream, I felt so good. That was the best week of my entire life. And I woke up and I was so sad that it was a dream. But I hope that can be realized one day. I'm reminded of that because of Abby's tweet, who had a dream about us being in love and was so sad to realize that it is a dream. Have you had those awkward, weird dreams before? Let me know. 011-883-0702. You can send your WhatsApps as well on 072-702-1702.
702.
WhatsApp Clement
on 072
702
1702.
Oh, Jasmine says that incident, that smash and grab, happened on the intersection. That's between, is it Bumpers Road and Jan Smart Avenue? So Bumpers Road and Jan Smart Avenue. Please, 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 guys, be careful if you are driving on that road. So I'm going to go to more of your calls on WhatsApps in a moment, yeah? But I don't know if you've realized, if you're a big fan of Beyonce, or maybe you're not a big fan of Beyonce, Beyonce has kicked off her Cowboy Carter tour in the US. Well, apparently it's not Carter, it's Carter. Carter or Carter. But she's kicked off her Cowboy Carter/Carter tour in LA. And it was fascinating to see. So her opening show was this week. And I saw that one of the most amazing thing that she did was bring in her daughter Blue Ivy, like she did, what was it, 2 years ago? Yes, 2 years ago. I had the opportunity to watch Beyonce in Atlanta, in America, or some people call it Atlanta. I had the opportunity to watch her in Atlanta about 2 years. Yeah, 2 years ago. And Blue Ivy was on stage. But this time around, Beyonce brought in Rumi at the first show, which is now one of the twins. Is Rumi one of the twins? One of the twins, right? Okay, one of Beyonce's twins. The question I want to ask you this morning, though, is who's your most favorite artist that you go berserk with? Because Oprah Winfrey and her friends went to the opening show, and they were so excited. They took like lots of videos. They posted them on Instagram and other social media platforms. And like they were going crazy. Listen to how much fun they were having.
Texas Hold'em!
That's Oprah there in the background saying, Beyonce! You should see the video. I'll repost it on my Instagram. But she was going crazy. And you're like, Oprah is going crazy over Beyonce. And I thought we should ask you this morning, who's that artist for you that you will absolutely go crazy when you see them? And when you go attend their concert. I mean, Oprah, some people will say, you're acting like a fool because you're fanning, right? And I mean, Oprah was even wearing matching outfits with the friends. And I remember, because I had an opportunity to see Adele and meet her. I mean, she hugged me. I still haven't watched the top I was wearing when Adele hugged me on stage. When I went to see her in Germany last year, and it was my birthday, and she called me on stage. I still haven't washed that top. It literally still smells of her cologne. It's really a precious asset for me. But it's one of those moments where I also went crazy. You know, Adele is one of the artists that I will go crazy over. Who is that for you? That you go watch and you're saying, I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, I've heard that some people who watch Asha or even Ringo Madlingos, even Ringo Madlingos, I've heard that some people will even, and I hope kids are not hearing this, take out their underwears and throw them on stage. Who's that artist that makes you go crazy? 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Tembile, you calling from Centurion. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. How are you?
Hey, Tada.
Before we talk about mine,
yeah,
the Adele moment that you had, man, I saw it on Instagram. I said, man, I'm a big fan of Jay-Z. I would like to have that moment that you had with Adele. Jay-Z in 2017, I went to Brooklyn in his hometown at Barclays Center. I watched the 4.44 concert with me and my wife. It was crazy, man. And you know, when we went to the concert, I said to the wife, let's not take a taxi, let's take a train. You know the idea of a train? Jay-Z had 8 concerts in Barclays Center. Yeah. On the last concert, he said he wanted to take a train.
Oh, my God.
I took that train to Barclays Center and we had an awesome time. I mean, the crowd going into the concert, it was insane. The following year, they had On the Run tour in Buffalo. We chose the Buffalo Leg in New York.
Yeah.
We went to that concert. I'm a big Jay-Z fan. My son, last born, his name is Hove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, his name is what?
Hove.
Oh, yes. Oh, you're a big fan. You're a big fan, man. So,
I'm a big fan.
One of the things I was checking with Beyonce's tour now, because I also want to go see her now. I mean, I was trying to see which leg I can go to. And I wanted to see if Jay-Z is going to be performing. But I don't think, from the opening concert.
I don't think this one is going to. If you are going to be performing, definitely. I just want them to make another album. I'm sure they'll make another album.
Oh, they have to, Tembile. Because I would love to see Jay-Z live as well. Oh, but the fact that you've seen her in his hometown.
Sorry, man. I've also seen him here at Supersport at FNP Stadium. When they were here in South Africa.
Amazing.
With Beyonce. I also went to that one.
Amazing. Tembile, the fact that you went to see Jay-Z in his hometown is super dope, man. Thank you for calling us, Tembile, in Centurion. Goodwill, you're calling us from Constantia Clue. What weird dream have you had?
Yes, Clement. I had this very good dream, man. When I was landing at Old Trafford before the Manchester game and Liverpool.
Yeah.
Can you imagine landing with a helicopter?
With a helicopter. And were you alone? Were you with family, friends?
No, I was alone, my man. And immediately after that, I woke up, and it was so terrible because I was so happy.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Oh my God! All right, Goodwill. Let's hope one day it'll happen. You will land at Old Trafford with a helicopter. Matibela, you're calling us from Southgate. Who's that one artist for you?
You know, my brother, Madumeja.
Hey, Tara.
Zonke Dikana.
Love Zonke.
My brother, wow. I'll go to anywhere in the world just to watch her.
Yeah. And are you that type that sings along with your hands in the air?
Yes.
Yeah.
The funny thing is I can't sing.
Yeah.
Not dance.
Yeah, I love Zonke as well. I love Zonke. I've told you guys a story before on air of how, I've followed Zonke everywhere. There was a time she performed in her hometown in East London. Yeah, it's in the Eastern Cape. And this is about 3-4 years ago. And I booked a flight and I went to see her because I just wanted to see her in her hometown. There's a fascination I have about artists when they perform in their hometowns. Like even with Beyonce, like going to watch Beyonce in Texas would be amazing for me. Like, watching artists in their hometown, I feel like they bring a different kind of energy. And even with Zonke, when we were in East London and I watched her in East London, she was just different to Zonke in Cape Town or Zonke in Johannesburg or in Pretoria. So I'm a really, really big fan of Zonke. And I once shared with you guys a story of how I once got called by her people and they asked me to MC her concert, and I couldn't believe it. I actually paused a bit and I delayed and I called a friend. I was like, I think they are playing with me because I cannot believe that my favorite artist, if you know me, you know how much I love Zonke. I cannot believe my favorite artist has just asked that I must come and MC her concert. It was wild. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do it because of schedulings. But hey, the fact that I was considered made me go crazy. Who's that big artist for you that you will go absolutely crazy, especially when you're watching their shows? Let me know. It's 9:30. Let's get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Sviso, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Residents in Saldanha Bay have gathered outside a community centre where judgment in the Jocelyn Smith trial is expected to be handed down this morning. The missing girl's mother and her co-accused are set to hear their fates today. State prosecutors and the defence wrapped up their closing arguments in the trial this week. President Cyril Ramaphosa says the newly announced commission of inquiry into unprosecuted TRC cases is a fact-finding mission meant to bring closure to families who lost loved ones during apartheid. After its completion in 2003, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission referred more than 400 cases to the National Prosecuting Authority, but there has been widespread criticism about the lack of accountability for apartheid-era atrocities like murder and torture. And the U.S. demonstrators gathered for May Day rallies against Donald Trump protesting his administration's policies and attempts to push the limits of presidential power. Hundreds of thousands of protesters gathered in many of the nation's largest cities, from New York to Chicago and Los Angeles, while a number of smaller towns also had demonstrators turn out in their streets. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by cars.co.za. Let's find what moves you. Karabo, you've watched Eminem live before.
Yes, Eminem. I went all the way to Cape Town.
Yeah.
He had a show in Joburg, but I was like, nah, I'm not going to go to Ellis Park.
Is he great on air? Because when you listen to his songs, he's absolutely amazing.
No, he was amazing. It was like one of the best hip-hop concerts I've ever went to. So he puts an effort. Even, there's other artists. If Usher comes back, I'll definitely go. I went to go see him in 2003, 4 there somewhere.
Yeah.
But if he comes back, as old as he is, I'm sure he hasn't rusted. But
he still has that.
He still has that. The moves.
Would you take your wife with you?
Definitely.
And if he comes over to your wife and feeds him those berries, feeds her those. She's got this thing he does now because he's live in Europe now, and he's got these berries. What are those?
What?
And then he feeds women that. And I'm like, imagine.
Anyway, let's get
the roads looking.
The most serious things. Free-flowing traffic in Gauteng at this stage. No major delays or accidents have been reported on our highways, but then just look out for those faulty traffic lights we still have. In Edenvale at Modderfontein and Van Riebeck. Traffic lights also not working. In Randburg at Malibongo Drive and Mahogany, there's also traffic lights out of order in the Pretoria area. That's Groenkloof, Christina de Wet and Euphorus. If you come across any other traffic issues, please SMS us on 31702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. Majestic handling. A V8 horsepower that is.
This is very annoying. I'm trying to read a car radio advertisement.
Whatever car you want to buy or sell, cut through the and just go to cars.co.za and let's find what moves you. Cars.co.za.
Luck could be on your side when you play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 59 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Friday. That's right. Play Powerball for an estimated 33 million rand. and Powerball Plus for an estimated 26 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529# for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old, but play responsibly. E2 is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Let's toast to Kumalo, Sithole and Associates.
Kumalo, that's me, a partner at the table. If I had it my way, I would have made it Kumalo, Sithole, Abo Baba Nabo Auntie, who helped with money for registration fees when I was short. And don't forget my grandfather, Umtungwa. He's usually in overalls, but today, uswenkile. They all worked hard to get me here. So kahle kahle, they really are partners in this business.
Experience the power of mutuality. In 2024, we allocated 5.6 billion rand in profit share to our graduate professional members, because at PPS, success is better shared. Learn more at pps.co.za. PPS is a licensed life insurer, controlling company and authorized FSP.
Road crashes cause injuries and death. Take your safety seriously and the safety of others. Fatigue is a silent killer. If you're on the long road, take a break every 2 hours or every 200 kilometers. Remember, buckle up and stay within the speed limit. Don't overtake on a barrier line. Travel during the day, it's safer. Road safety is everyone's responsibility. Ensure that you and your loved ones arrive alive. This message is brought to you by the National Department of Transport.
Celebrate Mother's Day on Sunday, the 11th of May at Nairock's Winter Sculpture Fair. Experience an Italian flavor day out with art, music, wine, gourmet food, and good living. The Johannesburg Philharmonic Orchestra will entertain with string quartet cameos through the day, and there's an appearance by Italian soprano Greta Doveri. Wines from the Cape Wine Cellar Master's Choice will be available for tasting, and patches with gourmet food from Italian provided by the Epicurean Emporium and Benny's Bar. Limited tickets are available from nyroxarts.com. Nyrox is a private not-for-profit foundation to benefit the arts. All income is used to maintain the grounds, the artist residency program, and artist support.
Your voice,
your questions.
Your morning radio with Clement Manyathela.
This is 702.
23 minutes before 10 o'clock. Let's continue with your calls on the 702 open line this hour on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. Muhlau, you calling from Johannesburg. Good morning.
Mr. Manyathela.
Hey, Tada.
No, I get Dr. Thomas Chauke.
Oh, okay, Dr. Thomas Chauke.
Dr. Thomas Chauke unkarile broro umfile maile abophelo.
Yeah.
Untile mokile ngona tsihle ka bakala maile. Ammino ha even maringing tongue.
Yeah. Wallpaper ya phone yona asiyena.
Ukaro bona phone yakhe.
Aya.
Just nje ukari no ba hotsinyana ba santsha mara. Just number 37, which I can't wait for. Mara, I understand the language here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing, Muhlau. Thank you so much. Muhlau says Dr. Thomas Chauke is that artist for him that he goes crazy over. Even his ringtone is of one of the songs from Dr. Thomas Chauke. Paul, you are in Pretoria. Good morning.
Hi, Clement Kunjana.
Hey, Tada.
I mean, Clement, you'll never go wrong at TKZ.
Mm-hmm.
We are one of them food is like Gavelo. It's one of the gifted artists in South Africa. The way they perform, never perform live with a band. Just imagine a kwaito band, a kwaito performing live with a band. That's TKZ. And you don't get a kungalum food is like Gavelo.
Yeah.
He can fit in like a track. Ubeta verse like a verse like a cash. At the same time, then you'll feel with that this is TKZ.
Yeah. Oh
you
man.
Never go wrong. Ukabelo is one of the best. Magaqetane aksampulele angene ashay brown dash ashay do at the same time. That's what I love about Kwaito. They just perform every hit. Agacheck with the nyagawan lengom. Magajagamto atikibela pezwintu.
Oh man, and it takes you down memory lane. Yeah, TKZ, amazing. They were actually performing at the Cape Town International Jazz Festival this past weekend, and they were brilliant on stage. Philip, you're in Naledi. Hi.
Good morning, Clement.
Good morning.
Show, as always.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Clement, one of the best artists, female artists that I love, and I would love to be in shows. I mean, I've listened to this lady since I was 20. I'm 55 now. That's Patty LaBelle.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that woman is gifted. I mean, I watch her, I follow her. I was listening to where she was requested by Berry Gordy to come and perform songs that are written by Diana Ross. I mean, she performed a medley, songs like 5 songs on a stage. Man, it was so powerful. I love that woman, and I wish I could be in one of her shows. And yeah, you've made my day.
Yeah, Philip, I wish. You know what? Can we see if we don't have Patty LaBelle there on the system? Maybe I'll play it for you, Philip. Let me make your Friday. Yeah. What's your favorite song?
You Are My Friend.
You Are My Friend. Okay, I'll see if I can find that. Cross fingers, Philip. Let me make your Friday. Maybe I'll wrap up the open line with that song. Let's go to some WhatsApps on 072 702 1702.
Good morning, Clement. Good morning, 702 listeners. Clement, I'm grateful that I just decided to quit gambling. Clement, gambling is very dangerous if you use the money that you don't have for gambling. It's very dangerous. Now I'm in debt. It's very tough. It's very tough. I just get paid, but I can't spend even a cent on my salary because I have to pay people that I owe. It's very tough, man. I just quit. Please put me through your prayers that I won't go back again to gambling, man. It's very tough. Anonymous here.
Anonymous. Listen, we are a family here, and we're gonna pray for you. We're gonna keep you in our thoughts. When you get a moment, please just think about Anonymous. Just pray for him. He says he stopped gambling. That's what he's grateful for, and he just hopes that he doesn't go back to it. I'll certainly put you in my prayers, Anonymous. Well done. That first step is so important. The fact that you realize that there's an addiction here, I've got a problem, and you've decided to stop. That is so important. And we'll carry you in our prayers, and I think that's what's going to give you more strength. Thank you for sharing that with us, and well done. Give yourself some credit for having decided to stop.
Clement, talking about the weirdest dreams, a week or 2 weeks ago, I dreamed of myself sitting with the president in his office. And the president was not actually talking to me. I was just sitting there watching him work, and he was like concentrating on what he was doing. When I woke up, that was the weirdest dream I've ever had. Thank you.
That's interesting.
Morning, Clement and everyone. You're talking about weirdest dreams. I had a weird dream on Tuesday. I dreamt of Tembinkosi Lodge shadowing me. Worst part is not like I was talking about him during the day, or maybe I saw his pictures during the day or anything. Like, it was just so random. Yeah, Judith in Pretoria.
Oh man, that is so funny. But also, Janet, I'm interested. Do you have a crush on Teminkosi Lodge? Yeah, because maybe that's where it comes from. So, yeah, she says she dreamt of Teminkosi Lodge, who's a soccer player, shellering her, basically, hitting on her. And in that first one, that very first voice note, the listener says they dreamt in being in the president's office and they were just watching the president working and concentrating. Weirdest dreams you've ever had. I read you a tweet earlier of AB. AB sent me a tweet and says, Clement, I dreamt you and I had fallen in love, and I was so sad to realize that it was just a dream. That's what AB says, and that's why I've been asking you about some of the weirdest dreams you have had. Let's go to some calls now. Let's start with you, Papla in Esteras. Good morning.
Morning, Clement. I think you should play We Are In This Together by El Jarreau for Anonymous with that very sad call. But the reason I'm calling is many years at your alma mater, Tux, El Jarreau was performing there. And when I heard he was coming, I bought front row tickets immediately. I was standing right under his feet. And after the show, he greeted us all. He bent over to the stage, and I couldn't leave his hand. You know, he had to use his other hand to take my hand off. And I was so embarrassed, but that's how I felt about it.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's amazing. Did you wash your hands on that day?
Oh, my word. Yeah, thank you, Clement. See you later.
Thank you, Papla. In Easteras. Let's go to, is it Clement in Centurion? Clement, hi.
How's it, Bito?
Hey, Kimnati, wena?
Good, sir. Yeah, I just want to take you back to the concert I went to, 2014, for Centurion Park. There were a couple of artists there, but the one I was waiting to see was Nas, the rapper Nas. He's my favorite artist. And I think on that day, they were celebrating 20 years of his first album, Illmatic, which is like the best hip-hop album, like by critics, you know. So that was the best day. Like the only concert I actually been to, and the best. Ever since that, I haven't been to any concert. So Nas is my guy, man. So that was beautiful.
That's amazing. That's amazing, Clement. Thank you, Beats. Edmund, you are in Soweto. Hi, who's that artist for you?
Oh, yes. For me, Bra Clement is none other than Bra Hot Sticks Mabuse. Look, I go local. I really admire him, and really I enjoy watching him, though I've never gone to his concerts where he's also part of the artist, but I always watch him like on TV. I've always followed him. And what I like about him, I understand he's a multi-instrumentalist. He can play in any instrument, if I'm not mistaken. But I like him when he blows that saxophone, you know. So if he is listening, he can always understand that I'm one of his favorites.
That's amazing, Edmund. Maybe one day we should arrange. You know, he's always listening to the show. He calls in often on the show. So maybe one day we can arrange you to meet him.
Of course, why not?
I'll call him. I'll send him a WhatsApp now and tell him that we must arrange for you to meet with Edmund, who is your biggest fan. Yeah?
Of course, I will be happy, and maybe can bring along the saxophone.
Yeah, and play it for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Edmund, let me work on it. My friend. Edmund is calling us from Soweto.
Hey, Madimeja. My favorite artist, it's Lauryn Hill. I love Lauryn. And then when he was performing last time here at the Dome, this is what happened. I went there to watch Lauryn Hill. But as we were going in, Nas was performing, and I love Nas. He was never advertised anywhere, but when I got there, it was like, whoa! I went all crazy.
Oh, Clement, it's Samuel Kumalo from Tikip Soweto. For me, it's Mandisi Yankees. Yeah, no, that guy, I would love to go to his concerts. I love him, Joe. His lyrics, the way he conducts himself, the way he dresses up, Joe. He's one of the best artists South Africa has ever produced. I got to know of him around 2020, 2021 during COVID-19 lockdowns. He held these concerts in his dining room. Since then, he's been my profile picture on WhatsApp, my screensaver on my phone, Joe. Like, I love him. Mandisi Yankee is my brother. I love him. One of my favorite songs by him, it's Ziyafana Zonke.
Ziyafana Zonke.
That guy.
Zingamaxoki zonke. That's an amazing song because it's actually about, I think, politicians and how they are liars and thieves. Did he lie? I don't think so. But yeah, it's a lovely song. Yeah. Ziyafana. Can you check there on the system if you don't have Mandisi's? Zingama xoki zonke. It's a lovely song. So Mandisi, I'm a big fan of him. We've had him on the show on the Hanging Out feature. And I've had the opportunity to go see him many times live, both in Cape Town and here in Joburg. But can I tell you, make sure you listen to his wife. His wife is Nomfundo Aluva. And oh my God, I get goosebumps talking about her. She is incredible. I saw her at the Cape Town Jazz International Festival this weekend. She was also performing there. She's going to be performing also, I think, at the Joy of Jazz, if I'm not mistaken. She is incredible. So if you have an opportunity, go check out Nomfundo Xaluva. Check out on iTunes or Spotify if you're there. But the wife is just as brilliant. She was my highlight at the Cape Town Jazz Festival this weekend. You've got the song? Ziyafana Zong? Let's give them a taste.
Ndati indonile izenza zingakhathali kangaka ndati indonile izenza zingasixabisi kangaka wathi ukundiphendula wathi ukundiphendula ziyafana zonke zingamaqoki zonke ziyafana zonke zingamamenemene zonke ziyafana zonke zingamaphethe kuwemo ziyafana zonke zingamaqoki zonke kodwa ngenye imini bovuka abantu bamanyane bathathela amandla kubo bovuka abantu bamanyane bathathela amandla kubo bovuka abantu bamanyane bathathela amandla kubo bovuka abantu bamanyane bathathela amandla ziyafana zonke zingamaqoki ziyafana zonke zingamaphethe kuwema ziyafana zonke zingamaqoki ziyafana zonke zingamaphethe kuwema Mama ziyafana zonke zingamaqoki ziyafana iinkokheli zethu zingamaphethe kuwema ziyafana iinkokheli zethu zingamamenemene ziyafana iinkokheli zethu zingamaqoki zonke kodwa ngenye imini bovuka abantu bamanyane bathathela amandla kodwa ngenye imini bovuka abantu bamanyane bathathela amandla kodwa ngenye imini bovuka abantu bamanyane bathathela amandla kodwa ngenye imini
What a beautiful song. Ziyafana zonke by Mandisi Jantshi. Yeah, some people feel like he's being hard on politicians, but is he? He's like ziyafana zonke zingamaxoki. All of them are liars. That's what he's saying in that song. 6 minutes before 10 o'clock.
Every time we're on the radio, we're not just talking.
We're turning words into actions.
Actions that change communities. Actions that make a difference. And every time you tune into 702, you're not just listening to the radio. You're in conversation with us.
And your voice matters. You're on a journey with us. And every step we take counts.
It's these steps that not only help us grow as individuals, but also bring us together as a society.
Through the good times and the bad.
Every step gets us closer to the South Africa we want to be. So keep walking with 702 and let's make this a journey to remember.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
Activate your next aerial adventure and launch into a world of riveting riches with Hollywood Bets. With so many options to choose from and more rewards than you could wish for, our range of multiplier games is jam-packed with precious prizes. Zoom to new heights with JetX and strap in for fantastic fun with Skyward. Skyrocket to success with Highflyer and prepare for the ultimate thrill ride with Aviatrix. We've got it all just for you. Hollywood Bets. Fly higher with our multiplier. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
This isn't just a walk. It's a journey through memory, through meaning. The 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane, returns on Sunday, the 27th of July. Walk from the hallowed grounds of Freedom Park to the southern lawns of the Union buildings and some of our capital city's most iconic landmarks. Choose from 8 kilometers, 6.7 kilometers in honor of Mandela Month, or 4 kilometers for something lighter. Entry is 360 Rand for adults and 200 Rand for kids under 12. There's no parking at the start or end, so please book your park and rides from Joburg or Pretoria when you enter. Sign up on primemediaplus.com before the 26th of July. The 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane. Walk with meaning. Walk with us.
Dear Journal, trying to be an adult, day 3,247. My financial advisor asked if I was expecting any inheritance. I said, I don't have a trust fund, but I trust that funds will find their way to my bank account. He was not amused.
Recently removed from the family payroll? Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's like 570 Rand a month, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insurer Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
702.
WhatsApp Clement
on 072
702
1702.
3 minutes now before 10 o'clock. We're wrapping up the 702 open line. Let's wrap up with this WhatsApp voice note.
Morning, Clement. When it comes to the word strange dreams, I always had a dream of being Thabo Mbeki's main man. I don't know who am I to Thabo Mbeki, but I was like chief of staff, minister of whatever. I don't know, but I was there when he was there doing the speech. But anyhow, I had to come to reality when it comes to that one. And I'm grateful for life. And then when it comes to the issue of smash and grab, I think police should be stationed on the corners just for safety's sake.
Thank you, Ntate Mruti. Zandile says, Clement, my sweet cousin was stabbed last week Friday on his way to work. They took his cell phone and wallet. He only had transport fare. The scariest thing is that he told him, which means it's better that I kill you. He had to drag himself home. Fortunately, his wife managed to rush him to the hospital. He was quickly rushed to theater. Thank you to the doctors at Telle Mokwerane Hospital. He was discharged on Wednesday. He's recovering well. So I'm grateful to God that my family is celebrating love instead of planning a funeral. Oh, we're grateful for that too. Thank you so much for sending that as part of Gratitude Friday. Here's a snippet of what that listener asked for. He said he loves Patti LaBelle. So here you go.
I see your tears when I show my
It's 10 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Proceedings are expected to start this morning in Saldanha Bay for the judgment in the Jocelyn Smith trial, where it will be handed down this morning. The missing girl's mother, Kelly Smith, and two co-accused will hear their fates. State prosecutors and the defense wrapped up their closing arguments in the trial this week. Kelly Smith, Jacqueline Apollos and Stefano van Rijn are charged with kidnapping and human trafficking for the little girl's disappearance. Carlo Peterson reports.
Defense attorneys representing the accused believe the state has a weak case against their clients. Lawyers for Kelly Smith, Jacqueline Apollos and Stefano van Rijn this week centered their closing arguments around the credibility of the state's main witness, Laurentia Lombard. Lombard implicated Apollos and Van Rijn in Smith's alleged plot to sell Jocelyn to a Sangoma for 20,000 rand. However, the former accused buckled under cross-examination and often refused to answer questions during her testimony. The state showed the court how details in Lombard's testimony relating to the 20,000 rand for Jocelyn is corroborated in the confession statement of Jacqueline Apollos and the testimony of another witness, Stephen Kutsia. Prosecutors Aldous Swanepoel said the accused's decision not to testify could also prove pivotal to Judge Nathan Erasmus's ruling. Erasmus is expected to deliver his judgment this morning. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News, Saldanha Bay.
The EFF plans to march to the whites-only settlements of Kleinfontein in Pretoria. The community has recently drawn attention for its segregationist policies, similar to those in Orania in the Northern Cape. The EFF says more than 30 years into democracy, Kleinfontein cannot continue to exist as an exclusively white community. Alfred Mushwana reports.
Are black people allowed to come and live here?
Your question, it was directly about race. My answer is directly about culture. So anybody of any color that fits the Afrikaner culture, that applies successfully, will be able to live here.
That was Kleinfontein spokesperson Donnie De Beer explaining to EWN what it takes for someone to be admitted to live at the whites-only community. The settlement has recently faced growing public attention, with both the EFF and MK party expressing outrage over its continued segregationist policies. The Red Berets are expected to visit Kleinfontein this morning to voice their frustration, labeling the settlement as a pro-apartheid enclave. Despite the criticism, Kleinfontein maintains that it's not a whites-only community, but rather one focused on preserving the Afrikaner culture. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
President Cyril Ramaphosa says the newly announced Commission of Inquiry into Unprosecuted TRC Cases is a fact-finding mission meant to bring closure to families who lost loved ones during apartheid. After its completion in 2003, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission referred more than 400 cases to the NPA. But there has been widespread criticism about the lack of accountability for apartheid-era atrocities like murder and torture. Earlier this year, some families brought an application against Ramaphosa and 5 other heads of departments seeking 167 million rand in damages, accusing them of allegedly suppressing investigations into the cases referred to the NPA by the Commission. The terms of reference and the names of those who will be appointed to lead the inquiry established by the President are yet to be announced. And speaking on the sidelines of COSATU's annual Workers' Day rally in Mpumalanga yesterday, Ramaphosa explained his thinking behind the inquiry.
People were killed, people were maimed and injured, and families want to know exactly what happened. We are doing precisely that, so that the families can have closure. Those who were responsible for atrocities can also be brought to book, and so that we can also correct our own errors in terms of dealing with things that happened in the past.
And in the U.S., demonstrators gathered for May Day rallies against Donald Trump, protesting his administration's policies and attempts to push limits of presidential power. Hundreds of thousands of protesters gathered in many of the nation's largest cities, from New York to Chicago and Los Angeles, while a number of smaller towns also had demonstrators turnouts in their streets. One protester said the ultra-rich are trying to take over the country and suppress the working and middle class. The protests come as Democratic elected officials have struggled to find an effective strategy against Trump's far-reaching shakeup in the U.S. Gold is trading at $3,238.60 an ounce. The rand is at 18.47 to the dollar, 24.58 to the pound, 20.87 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $62.53 a barrel.
Looking good on our roads at this stage. No accidents have been reported on our highways. Just look out for those faulty traffic lights though in Edenville at Modderfontein Road and Van Riebeck. Traffic lights also not working in Randburg at Malibongo Drive and Mahogany, as well as in Kyalami at the R55 and Main Road.
A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 20 and 23 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Proceedings are expected to start this morning in Saldanha Bay for judgment in the Jocelyn Smith trial.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Eight minutes after 10 o'clock, Dumelang, welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. Always appreciate your calls and WhatsApps on the 702 open line. Thank you for your fun, interesting inputs in the previous hour. Truly appreciate it. Remember, you can watch the show live on YouTube. Very easy. You go to the 702 YouTube page. And then you can just watch the show, whatever is happening right now. So if you want to listen and watch at the same time, you can do that. Go to 702 YouTube page if that's what you want to watch. Remember, at 11 o'clock, we're going to have adult radio. So we're going to have adult conversations at 11 o'clock on our relationship and sex feature. Today we'll be discussing the intersection between pain and pleasure during sex. So that's a conversation coming at 11. But right now, we do our Across the Desk feature.
Across the Desk
with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
So, on our Across the Desk feature today, I am hosting people who have taken a sabbatical. And I want to know if you've ever considered taking one, right? Or maybe you've taken one. I would like you to share an experience with us. Maybe you took an extended break, whether it was for a month or 2 years from your job. And during that period of time, as an employee or as an employer, you were not reporting to work. Were you getting paid your full salary? Were you getting paid partially? But this gives you an opportunity, like just a healthy amount of time to enhance. Maybe if you are studying, to enhance your academic qualifications. Maybe you're pursuing new interests, you're trying to volunteer, or you're trying to reprioritize your life or career. So it's also an opportunity to manage just the effects of professional burnout for some people. So whether you use it for travel, that period of time, or you're pursuing a passion project, maybe you're learning a new skill, or you're simply just taking time to recharge. But a sabbatical can really provide fresh perspective. And I've invited 3 people this morning who have taken sabbaticals and they've come back with a new zeal for life. I want them to share their experiences with us. I want you to join this conversation as well, though. Give me a call on 011-883-0702 or WhatsApp on 072-702-1702 to share what your experiences have been if you've taken a sabbatical, or maybe you're considering it. Why are you considering it? Let me introduce you to my guests this morning. We've got Koketso Ndlebe. who is joining us in studio, who's a businesswoman, also a vet, a business school graduate. Koketso, thank you so much for making time. Good morning.
Morning.
You look so cool.
I
look like a Friday.
I love life.
Yeah. Are you good?
I'm good. How are you? And thank you for having me. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I've been waiting to say that line.
Well, this is your moment,
Yes.
ma'am. This is your moment.
Thank you for having me. And I'm feeling like a Friday.
Great. So Koketso is in studio with us. We also have Shantal Maeko, who's a wellness entrepreneur, who's joining us also in studio. Shantal, thank you for making time. Good morning.
Hi, Clem. Thank you so much for having me.
Are you good and excited about a Friday as well?
I am, listen, every day felt like a Friday on my sabbatical. So today I get to relive that and I'm so excited.
Amazing. We also have Zanele, Dywibiba, who's an aspiring life coach, also joining us in studio. Zanele, thank you for your time as well. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning to the listeners as well. Thank you for having me.
Dywibiba, I'm told that's how I must pronounce the surname. Apologies for messing it up.
Pronounced it correctly. I'm actually
why are the producers hard on me then? They're like, no, you got it wrong.
You've got it. You've got it.
Oh,
sir.
great. Okay. So I'm excited to hear your stories, guys, because, and I hope my bosses are listening, I am considering a sabbatical and maybe they can help me out. But I've always thought of, oh my God, I want to take, even if it's a month or 2 months, to just go and rest. And I want to start with you first, Koketso. What was your experience? When did you take it? And what was that moment for you that said, I need to bow out here for a bit?
Yes, I think it is very common that people after varsity, because I took it immediately after my undergrad. So I think it's so common for people to want to go to work immediately. I'm not saying I didn't look for employment, but it just felt like a gap year. And when I was in the middle of the year, I realized that actually this is rest. And I took it at that time. I didn't take a break immediately after my matric, so I went straight to university, and I still think I was very, very young. I just turned 17, and I chose a course. I went to school. I spent 4 years. I never took a break, and even when I was at school, I was still doing other things. So it just felt like a go-go.
You're just hustling.
It was just like productivity, and I just, for the first time, I was like, I need to rest. And then I took a rest in 2023.
Yeah.
Yes.
What did you do during that time?
Oh my gosh. I don't think I planned it, but I slept. I slept.
I love me some sleep.
No, I did. And it just felt so foreign to me because I am so used to like working and doing all of these things. I'm a very hyper extroverted person.
Yeah.
And it just felt so foreign, but I had to sleep. My body was calling me to sleep. And I think I found employment, I think, at the end of that year. And it just felt so timely and intentional because I felt rested and I felt like I rested.
And you were ready to take on the world.
I was ready.
That's great. Shantal, how about you? What was the story for you? When did you decide I need to take a sabbatical? And were you intentional about it?
Clem, I was forced into it. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I am an entrepreneur. I've been in the wellness industry for the past 10 years. And I pride myself in thinking that I had harmony with working out, eating well, and working. But when you are an entrepreneur, the stakes are high. It's all on you. And my burnout came as a mental burnout, and that then manifested in my body, and that's what really pushed me to take my sabbatical. The sabbatical that I took started as a micro sabbatical, and I actually spoke on this before with Relebogile on here, and the micro sabbatical was 4 weeks long, and after the 4 weeks I was hyped to get back to work. I was focused on, I felt re-energized, refocused, and when I got back to my business after those 4 weeks, I realized nope, it was such a premature decision to go back, and I needed to extend the sabbatical, and it took me 9 months of really just refocusing, realigning my mental and spiritual health, because a lot of sabbaticals, sometimes people are forced because of health reasons, but for me, it was more mentally and spiritually that I needed realignment, and that's what really pushed me to take my sabbatical.
Okay. Zanele, what's your story?
Yeah, mine was unplanned, if I can put it like that. It was really unplanned. Initially, it started off with me being unwell, experiencing things in my body that I was not, familiar to. And I went to my doctor, and I couldn't even explain what was happening to me at the time. When she asked me, how can I help you? What's the issue today? I couldn't articulate it at all. The only thing I could say at the time was that I am tired. I am drained. I don't know what's happening. My body's just not responding to me. And I was then booked off at the time, and then she referred me to a psychologist. And I then started to attend the sessions. And what really came out strongly was the fact that I was similar to Shantal, completely burnt out mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically, which then contributed to me being in a depressed state. And I was at home for a good 5 months at the time. And then I went back to work. When I went back to work after the 5 months period, I was still not in a good state.
Yeah.
And this is after 14 years of being in the public sector. And then I could just feel that my heart was not in the right place. My spirit was not in the right space. I knew something needed to move. I knew there were big decisions that I needed to make. So it was not a planned thing, but eventually when I wrote that letter to say I am taking a break, I eventually took a break in everything, from work, from church responsibilities, from social setups, where I just felt I need to pause and just reconnect with myself and breathe, because I was struggling to breathe. So that's how mine started.
Sure.
Thanks, Clement.
That's so fascinating, because also sometimes when we take sabbaticals, we think, oh, let me get off work, but I can continue with studies, or I can continue with church responsibilities, or I can continue with, this particular skills or training development program. But sometimes sabbaticals are needed to just go, I am stopping and pausing everything because I just need to refocus. Koketso, when you came back, do you think that you saw the benefits of that rest, and then you realized that, oh my goodness, had I not rested there, I wouldn't be able to be as productive and have this new zeal? What were those benefits that you were able to pick up once you were back?
Thank you for that question. And if you asked me if I would do it again, I would do it again. It was beautiful. I think they've mentioned that it took them months. For me, it was almost a year. And the benefit was that I got a clear, because for me it was like career. I had to choose what I wanted to do. So I did a course undergrad. It was BSc Urban and Regional Planning. And I think I was so not honest with myself and how I felt about it. And I feel like the feelings of being in denial just also led me to all those states of burnout. Because I felt like I had to work more harder just to get the marks to pass by, And I think during my gap year, I was just like, I sat and I was like, do I want to do this for the rest of my life? I mean, I'm young to be asking those questions. It was a big ask, but I knew I was not happy. And that the tiredness was like a signal to my body to say, you need to kind of make a change. So I later, like I told you, I got a job as a business assistant at that time. And I was just like, what can I do with this? And that's why I went and opted for a postgrad in a different field. So I literally took a switch.
And that made you happy? You were satisfied with that?
I've been happier. I would do it over and over again.
Which is great, because that means then during that time, you've got clarity of thought, right? You're able to make the right decisions. Shantal, how do you plan financially for something like this? I mean, being away, especially for you as an entrepreneur, you know that you have to grind the entire time, So how do you plan for that financially?
Well, Clem, like I said, I was forced into it and I didn't have much time to plan, to be honest. But for someone like you who is planning on going on a sabbatical, I think it's very wise to sit down, look at your finances, look at a time period that you do want to go on your sabbatical for, and then budget accordingly. For someone in my position who is an entrepreneur, it can be a bit more difficult because, as I mentioned, the stakes are higher, and without you being physically present in your business, it can take a toll on the production of the business and the productivity as well. And it's very important for you to have a contingency plan, emergency funds, maybe access to a financial advisor that can assist you in just shuffling funds around. Also, on the sabbatical, what I learned is to really just reshuffle my priorities. And I found myself cutting back on a lot of unnecessary expenses, things that I realized were now unnecessary that maybe I didn't realize when unnecessary in the past. And really just refocusing on living a quiet and simple life within those few months of my sabbatical. So that's also something that I really learned in my sabbatical was minimalism.
Yeah. yes. I like that. For you, Zanele, did you think about, okay, what am I gonna do financially? Did you have the opportunity where maybe you're getting a partial salary? What was the setup for you, or did you have extra support at home?
For me, extra support at home went a long way, because when I took the decision, I was at the peak of my career. And similar to Koketso, I'm an urban and regional planner, passionate about, what I was doing. But the time I was unwell, God just showed up for me and showed me that there's a difference between, passion and purpose. And God was, slowly revealing to me what my purpose in life, which is why I then took the coaching program, the life coaching program. But it was not a planned thing, but it gave me an opportunity to be a wife to my husband, which I could not be at the time when I was, mentally. I was on the mental breakdown. I got to be a mother to my kids again, which is something that had, a role that I had neglected, if I may put it like that, because I was just in the everyday rush, chasing deadlines, working late and all of those things. So I did not plan for it financially. There were options that were there. Obviously, in any work environment, there are options that are there that you can take up in terms of taking a sabbatical. But it was deeper than that. It required me to cut the umbilical cord that, connected me with a whole lot of things, and I lost the salary. So I would say I did not plan for it, but the support that I've been getting from my husband and even my family, my sisters and my mother, they've been there. It was not an easy decision to take because, as African people, our families depend on us. When we succeed in life, our families are also succeeding. But when I took that decision, the support that I got from my mother and my sisters and my husband and my kids, they were like, we want the old you back. And if that's what we are going to be getting from this decision that you are taking, oh good, we support you.
Yeah, that's great. So importance of support as well.
Yes.
011-883-0702. That's the number to dial. I want to hear from you on the WhatsApp line on 072-702-1702. Have you ever taken a sabbatical before? And did that rejuvenate you? Did you come back with new zeal, new energy? Or did you regret taking a sabbatical? For some people, they come back and they realized, it was a terrible mistake. What's your experience? Please share that with us. Give us a call or send us a WhatsApp. I've got some texts here that have come through. Matavo says, good morning, Clem and team and your guests there. I would like to take a sabbatical for 6 months in order to complete the research component on my master's degree and also just to rest. However, I cannot do that because of the financial obligations. Thanks for the great show. Really enjoying the chat. Thank you for that. And that's a consideration that some people have to make, is if you're stopping to work, like what Zanele says, you have to forgo sometimes your salary, and you have to look for support that you have, or maybe find other options that are available in your workspace. Gwen says, Clement, please can you ask your guest there about the financial planning around taking sabbatical leave, especially when you have dependents? Do people still get their full salary when you're on sabbatical leave? Yeah, Gwen, I've just asked them that. But there are options that are available. For some people, you just go no support at all financially, or some people still get their full salary. Some get their partial salary. It depends on the negotiation you have with your employers. And then another one says, hi, 702, please can you kindly read out this message below on air. It's from me, Malibongwe Dywibiba, the husband of Zanele Dywibiba. Oh, okay. So this is the husband of Zanele. Okay, this is interesting.
That's so cute.
The husband of Zanele, who's sharing his story today. And here it goes. It says, I just want to say how incredibly proud I am of my wife for sharing her story about taking a work sabbatical due to burnout. I saw firsthand how what was happening at that time was affecting her mentally, emotionally, and physically. It was painful to witness someone I love going through that. When she made the decision to step away from work, I was scared, uncertain about what would come next for us as a family. But even through my fear, I knew her well-being came first, and I supported her all the way. Watching her start to heal has been one of the most important and beautiful things. So to my wife, I stand with you then, now, and always. You are brave and you are not alone. That's amazing. That's so beautiful. Zanele, you're so blessed. You're so blessed to have support like that.
I am. He's really been my support. He's been my rock. He's making me emotional now. I wasn't expecting this. He's been my rock. Like I said, I don't think the decision would have been easier had I not received support from him. I remember when we were having the conversation about me, submitting my resignation. One of the things I said was that we prayed about it, and I said, yes, God, the only thing that I'm asking from you during this time, I don't want big monies, but we just want provision of daily bread. And God has been, providing that daily bread through His support, and given an opportunity 8 months later without a salary to say, do you want to go back? We're giving you an opportunity to come back. I would still choose not to go back because, what I'm gaining right now is far better than, where I was at the time when I could just feel that I'm losing myself. I'm falling apart. And the sad part is that you wouldn't even see that I was not okay because I was showing up in different spaces. I was showing up at work, performance, but deep down, I was dying a slow death. So I'm gaining life, and I still want to hold on to that life that I've regained. So he's been a great support. Him and my kids, Ella Boy and Iana.
Amazing. Dima on the WhatsApp line says, good morning. I'm really enjoying this chat, Clement, you and your guests. When I was on chemotherapy, the oncologist motivated a 6-month sabbatical with the employer. Thank you for the show. That's a message there from Dima. And there are some people that have had cancer, and my goodness, going through radiation and going through chemo is the most difficult thing, and it's difficult for people who are watching their loved ones go through that. Can you imagine how difficult it is for people who have to go through that chemo and radiation? And I've seen it firsthand before, and I do not wish that on anyone, to be able to experience it or to be able to even have a loved one who goes through that. So when you go through things like that, you do need some time away. I don't see how you go through that and you're still able to be at work. Thank you for sharing that with us, Dima. It's going up to 10:30. We're going to get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. I'm going to come back and continue this chat with Shantal, Zanele, and Koketso. I'm going to take your calls as well. 011-883-0702. Have you taken a sabbatical before? Are you considering taking it? Why are you taking it? And if you've taken it before, what difference did it make for you? Let us know. It's 10:30. Swisso, good morning.
Thanks, Clements. Good morning. Judgment in the Jocelyn Smith trial is being handed down by the Western Cape High Court, sitting at the Saldanha Bay Community Centre in the Western Cape. The missing girl's mother, Kelly Smith, and two co-accused, Jacqueline Paulus and Stefano van Rijn, are charged with human trafficking and kidnapping in connection with the child's disappearance last year. She went missing and was last seen outside her home in Middelport. In the Eastern Cape, the family of a student who was killed at Walter Sisulu University will appeal a court ruling preventing the media from broadcasting proceedings. Sisonke Mbolegwa died after he was shot allegedly by a residence manager at the institution during a student protest on campus in Tata last month. Manelisi Mpabane, who is accused of pulling the trigger, is back in court today to apply for bail. And Apple says it is shifting production of most iPhones and other devices to be sold in the US away from China, which has been the focus of President Donald Trump's tariffs. Apple Chief Executive Tim Cook says most iPhones bound for the US market in the coming months will be made in India, while Vietnam will be able to produce, will be a major hub for items like iPads and Apple Watches. And those are the headlines this EWN, and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, if you are in the Four Ways area, there's a slow-moving traffic on Cedar Road that's approaching Uranium. Otherwise, the rest of Gauteng not looking too bad, free-flowing. No serious accidents have been reported at this hour. Just look out for those faulty traffic lights, though. In Edenville at Modderfontein Road and Van Riebeck, traffic lights also not working. In Randburg at Malibongo Drive and Mahogany, as well as in Bryanston at Winnie Mandela Drive and Sloane. If you come across any other traffic issues, please SMS us on 31702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Dear Journal, trying to be an adult, day 3247. My financial advisor asked if I was expecting any inheritance. I said, I don't have a trust fund, but I trust that funds will find their way to my bank account. He was not amused.
Recently removed from the family payroll? Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's like 570 Rand a month, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insurer Limited, licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
Honey, what are you doing?
I'm stretching for tonight.
I thought you're not dancing at bachelorette parties anymore.
Baby, we need the money to put Johnny through matric mos.
And what's the police uniform for?
The clients feel safer when I wear it.
No, man, just sell your bucky to We Buy Cars. They give the best prices and they pay you within minutes.
Okay, but can I just go and dance one more time, please? You know how much I love it.
No, the buyer's already on his way here.
Wow, okay.
Strapped for cash? Just sell your vehicle to We Buy Cars. The easiest way to sell your car by far.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
702 and ABSA Home Loans are bringing to light the property ownership matters you want to know about. Here's what we discussed.
What is the bare minimum I should be coming with to build a house?
One is to look at is your budget and how do you want to finance that. Two becomes issues of location, because where do you want to invest this thing? And then the other things, you look at the orientation around the type of house that you want. Some locations drive the cost, you know.
Yes.
Staying in the estates, there's levies that you must pay, staying in freestanding units or buying land. So there's a number of factors, but the big driver, it becomes your pocket.
The Masterclass with Relebohile Maboja, brought to you by ABSA Home Loans on 702. T's and C's apply. ABSA is an authorized financial services and registered credit provider, NCR CP7.
Across the desk
with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
25 minutes before 11 o'clock on our Across the Desk feature this morning, I am hosting people who've taken sabbaticals. And I want you to share your experiences with us. I'm really inspired by the stories that Shantal, Zanele, and Koketso have told. And I see some of the questions that are coming through for them. In fact, ladies, if you can just think about this question in the meantime as I take some calls. There's someone who's asking if the sabbatical or that period you take not doing much, did it change the way that you view success or the way that you approach this work-life balance now? So how has your perspective changed after your sabbatical in as far as success is concerned or work-life balance is concerned? So think about that. I'll give you an opportunity to respond to it. But first, let's take some calls. Neo, you are calling us from Midrand. Good morning.
Hello, Clement.
Hey, Tada.
This is a great show always.
Thank you, brother.
I'm teaching at the University of the Free State, history, associate professor there.
Mm.
I took a sabbatical in 2016 July for a year into 2017 March to convert my PhD into a book. I'm excited to tell you that it's going to be launched next week on the 7th of May at the University of the Free State. But what I want to share is that we are married. When you take sabbatical, I think it's important to sit down with your wife and say, although they are keeping my job, I'm not going to get the whole salary. I think that's one of the things I regret. I thought, I'm keeping my job and the salary will come as it is, but it didn't, and it's not good for the family. So it's one of the things that I will advise as I go up the rank. When I become a dean, I'll make sure that anyone who takes sabbatical, they really discuss the financial implications with their families, because there are financial implications. But the book is coming out, Cultural Resistance on Robben Island. Hope you'll bring me for your copy and talk about it.
Yeah, please, man, send me a copy. I'd like to read it now, because I think you've called to tell me about that before when you're working on it. All the best, and thank you so much for raising that issue of just regret of not having had the discussion around financial planning, and that is why that is so important. Don't just wake up and go, I'm taking a sabbatical. It's also sometimes important, especially when you've got responsibilities. You've got kids, you've got a wife, you've got a husband, you've got maybe the family you're still looking after, your mom, your dad, your siblings. Sometimes it's important just to think about the way forward. What is the plan? Is there an alternative plan? Is there saving to do? Because sometimes then you take a sabbatical, but then instead of relaxing, you're stressing now about people you must still take care of, right? Moteo, you are calling us from Centurion. Good morning. Hey, Moteo.
Hi, Clement, and good morning to you and your guests. Nice show.
Thank you.
Exciting topic. So I'm one of those people who decided to go on, I call it a personal sabbatical, because I resigned from work.
Yeah.
And it was as a result of burnout. I was exhausted. Every morning when I woke up, I was dragging myself out of bed. And I had been postponing it for a couple of years. There was a time I wanted to go in 2019, and I felt like, hey, maybe let me just push my savings. And 2021, I decided there's no turning back. I left, and I had a bucket list of items, and we had just gotten out of COVID, not quite, but things were easing up. And I went for my bucket list items. I started with art school. I'm good at sketching with a pencil, so I decided I'm going for acrylics and oil paints, and I did that.
Wow.
Afterwards, I went for a baking class. After baking, I went for cooking. I went for landscaping, and then I did a little bit of traveling just to see my country.
Yeah.
When we travel, well, not normally. I think when people say I want to see the world. My work, for me, I defined it as South African. I decided to see the country. So I traveled around the country. But what was important for me was, besides the rest, which I really, really appreciated, was it helped to have a bit of a saving. We South Africans are not good at saving money. But for me, it came in so handy that I could carry on living a comfortable life, although it was not with the usual comfort of somebody that gets a salary on a monthly basis. I had to cut out a lot of things. And one good lesson for me was I don't need to buy shoes every month. I don't need to buy the groceries that I used to buy when I was at work, because half of them would go to my helper, and some end up in the bin. So I became very, very prudent, while still living a fairly comfortable life. Another important lesson for me, we say blood is thicker than water. For me, it was the other way around. It was water was thicker than blood. Not once did a single family member ask me, how are you even able to live from day to day? You know, there was anxiety when I was going home that people maybe even thought that I was there to ask for money, and I didn't, you know, and just the lack of interest of how do you do it on a day-to-day basis showed me a lot. And my partner stepped in big time. There were times when I really needed to rely on somebody, and my partner was there for me.
That's amazing, and that's why that support system is so crucial. Muteo, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Okay, so back to that question I asked you, Shantal, Zanele, and Koketso. I'll start with you, Koketso. There's a question we got from someone who says, please can you ask if that sabbatical or that break they took changed the way they view success or the way they approach this work-life balance now. I'll start with you, Koketso.
This goes also for everyone who's still in varsity. And I always feel like I always have to talk on behalf of kids from the townships, and it's so important for me. They are taught to work harder, and they're taught to work up until they bend to the ground. And I don't think it's sustainable. I think there's enough for everyone. And I think that's the whole, my break taught me that. And it taught me that you can still rest and this journey will still continue. And it taught me that we have time than we think we don't. I think for me it was kind of forced, of course, and I was going through grief. And when you're grieving...
This is when you had lost your mom.
Yes. So when you're grieving, you think, I still need to work. And that's when it kind of clicked to me to say, how are you going through something and still thinking about productivity? How about your emotions? How about your mental health? How about the whole thing? So I kind of approached it in a way that I will be provided for however way, but I need to take care of myself. So I kind of incorporated the whole thing of work-life balance to approach it in a well of wellness. And I think maybe one of your guests will agree with me. If you take the wellness route, you will know that you have to take rest for you to be efficient and maximize your productivity. I think it changed the whole thing of success. I think for me, being rich is being healthy.
Listen,
yes.
I just love that you've mentioned this thing that many of us have been taught to just work hard. I mean,
until you ban.
I come from a village myself where we work so hard, first of all, to come out of that place. Because there are not a lot of people who make it out.
Survival.
So already you're on survival mode. You get to university and the dynamics are so different. There are people who come from different backgrounds.
Yes.
And you have to survive through that and the culture shocks.
And
then I saw a white teacher for the first time at university.
Exactly. And someone driving a car while you don't have a meal.
And then you get to work and you're like, I have to survive. So we're always on survival mode. And that's why a lot of us, as Zanele said, we're dying internally. But we are always pulling up at work and we are performing. But internally, there's something we're missing. Shantal, what about you? Has your view on success changed? How do you approach this work-life balance thing now?
Definitely, Clem. I think I was always a big advocate for work-life balance. However, I have shifted my perspective after my sabbatical to rather take on the term harmony. So I think that success to me in the beginning, because much like you, I don't come from a family that had money. And so my definition of success was financial prosperity. And after my sabbatical, as I mentioned, my priorities shifted. And I really got to the root core of my core values. And I realized that more than financial success, what really matters to me is fulfillment. And so success has shifted in that sense. I've seen that even though I've made quite a significant amount of money according to what I've been exposed to or from where I come from, in my businesses, I've now realized that money is no longer the goal, service is. And that service to many leads to greatness regardless. And so why not focus on the service, because money will flow. And when I am operating in my highest potential, really focusing on my purpose, as Zanele mentioned, and operating in my purpose, using my gifts to serve many, the money will flow. And so for me, that's what really shifted my mindset. I really took that lack mentality or poverty mentality, I would call it, and shifted it to service and operating in faith. And that was just the biggest takeaway for me. And I've seen that I feel a lot more joyful. I have a new level of peace on a daily basis. And even in this minute, my bank accounts don't look the same. It was a major sacrifice. But you know what? I've gained so much life, I feel. People look at me now and they say, oh my goodness, you're glowing. And it's a God glow, because this glow comes from rest.
Yes.
And
man,
honestly,
preach.
I'm grateful. Because I mean, you might be listening to this right now and you're listening to 3 females who've taken a sabbatical, and you might be thinking, oh yeah, that's for the women. But I want to speak to the men right now. You need this as much as we do. If you feel that you are driven to the point of exhaustion, one day when you get all that money, all that success, the titles that you want, you're going to look back and see that you have missed so many moments with your family, so many beautiful moments where you could have served, so many moments that you could have grown personally, mentally, spiritually, because you were chasing a buck. So today I just want to encourage you, whether you're male or female, no matter where you come from, don't be pushed by the circumstances of your environment where you come from. Look deep within, redefine your core values, align or realign your priorities in terms of fulfillment rather than chasing a title or money.
Love that. Yeah, Zanele, and for you, it's like your view on success, the approach to work-life balance?
Yeah, for me, I've learned that my worth is not tied to productivity. I'm allowed to rest. I'm allowed to be human. And I've gotten an opportunity to redefine success on my own terms. And right now, for me, success is not, being in the corporate space as a highly paid manager. I had to let go of that at that level. But for me, success at the moment is a happy family, a healthy marriage, kids, my children having, lasting memories about me, that if they were to be asked, what gift did your mother give to you? They would say she gave us the gift of time. And that's success to me, because, all of that had taken away the ability to do the little things. My kids love my food. I'm a great cook, by the way, Clement. My kids love my food. My husband loves my food. But because I was so tied up and busy and climbing the corporate ladder, I could not do the basic things, such as making a meal, making their favorite meal. But at the moment, I'm able to, to do those things. And success to me now is even being able to say, I'm at home, but if I'm tired and I need to rest and the house is not clean, I sit and I relax. I sleep. My husband comes back. He cooks for me. He serves me. So I'm in a space where I understand success in a different way, not the way that it has been previously defined to us. I think the previous speakers indicated that. So it's really redefining things in a lot more personal way at the stage.
Yeah, I love that. There's another listener who wants to know if there's anything that you guys would have done differently. So when you look back in hindsight, is there anything you would have done differently during your sabbatical, or was everything like, I'm happy? So think about that. I'll give you an opportunity to respond to that. Let's go to Leonard first, who's calling us from Midrand. Leonard, good morning.
Hi, morning, Clement. How are you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Great show.
Thank you.
I'm good. Great show as always. I mean, I think it's the for everyone who's calling into your show. On my side, I've been quite busy. I mean, since 2009 up until now. Just a combination of schoolwork, and just life in general. And one can really do with a 2 month, 3 month sabbatical. But the caveat to that is just the financial risks that come with it. And a lot of your callers and your speakers, they've just alluded to the fact that as a black man and as somebody who sort of grew up in a rural area, we were just taught to continue to work, and work is valued. And if you want to take a break, you're kind of perceived as somebody who's weak. So we continue to strive on at the compromise of our mental health. So that's all that I wanted to say. I could do with a
break.
2 months, 3 months break. I'm currently pursuing a master's degree, and to be quite honest, balancing that with work has just proven to be a major challenge. And obviously, again, as I said, coming from a rural area, sometimes you're expected to attend weddings, funerals. You still have to deliver on your schoolwork. You still have to deliver on your actual work. So it's just a challenge. But I applaud your guests for taking those risks that come with it, and actually advocating for sabbatical. It really is important for people to take a break.
Yeah, listen, all the best, Leonard, with your masters, and that time will come for you. I hope you can find a way to still slot in that break, because as everybody has been saying here, is we don't want to wait until we crash, because that's then a little too late. So at least, and part of the reason we're having this conversation is to create awareness, is to help people know that this is possible. There's a way you can do it. You can plan around it. You can build your own support system when you take it. But so often we are so driven to just work hard every day, and we don't take time to actually take care of ourselves and to rest and to redefine what success is. I mean, if success is I'm going to be stressed 100% every single day of my life to a point that it affects my interactions with my family, it affects me even when I'm on weekends, even I'm on holiday with my family, then that's not the success I want, right? Let's go to some WhatsApps that have come through on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Clemmy. Flores here from the Western Cape, man. I was fortunate enough to have taken sabbaticals over the 20 years that I've been working at a certain program, and also at my new job. That was part of my negotiations for taking on this job, because I was headhunted, that I am taking a sabbatical every 3 months, fully paid. So yeah, it was nice. Every time I take a sabbatical, I go visit my friends either in the US or in Switzerland. So yeah, I'm planning to go there next year again if all goes well. So yeah, sabbaticals work for some and not for others, depending on type of a job you have. Have a good show. Bye-bye.
Hi, Clement. Great show and great insights from your guests. I just can't bring myself to take a sabbatical. I took leave today, but I'm just thinking about work. I'm thinking about all the things that need to be done. And if I don't do them today, then Monday is going to come around. And it's just a constant cycle of thinking about productivity and your outputs. But yeah, I think your guests have brought forward some great points for us to consider.
Yeah. Oh, please take a break. Like, you're on leave now. Don't think about work, please. And that's the thing, is sometimes we get so addicted. And it's so, we don't, because I always think it's in our subconscious. We don't actually realize it, right? Because we've been wired and socialized for work to be our identity.
Yeah.
And to a point that even when we are on holiday, I've told this story many times there was many years ago, I was in Thailand on holiday, and because I was a field journalist at the time, and I remember there was a terrorist attack that happened 500 meters from the hotel where I was staying at. And I remember the first thing wasn't, am I safe? Where are we going to hide? The first thing was, I took out my phone and I wanted to go record. so that I can send the story to my news editor at the time, Katie Katapodis in Joburg. I'm on holiday, and yet all I'm thinking about is I'm going to file a story about a terrorist attack that's just happened in Thailand. We don't think. Sometimes we think, yeah, but I'm passionate about my job. No, that's crazy. Sometimes when you take a break, take a break. But because we're wired to always be on overdrive, subconsciously when things happen, we take out a laptop. You want to respond to the emails. And sometimes we just need to make an intentional decision to stay away from work and just focus on our own rest. Okay, the question I asked you guys earlier from one of our listeners who's saying, if you look back, Koketso, in hindsight, looking back, is there anything you would have done differently during your sabbatical, or are you 100% happy with how it unfolded?
Okay, thank you so much for sharing your story from Thailand. I think it was a very courageous act to take, but I cannot dismiss the anxiety that comes with it. I would have done it the same way. I think I don't regret anything. I tried so many jobs which didn't require me to, to present myself fully. So I think, I don't regret anything. I would do it the same way.
The same way, okay. Shantal, how about you?
Clem, before I answer, I just want to quickly say that, in my first 4 weeks of my micro sabbatical before I extended, I was the person who couldn't turn off.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why I needed to extend.
Yeah.
And so I really want to encourage everybody who just feels that they can't do it, they can't take off. That's exactly why you need to.
Yeah.
You need to be able to rest, right? God created the earth in 6 days. On the seventh day, he rested. And so
even he rested.
Come on. You get me? So, yeah, I would not change anything in my sabbatical. Perhaps maybe not seeing as many friends as I did. I love my friends. If you're listening, I love you. But I think when you are in a sabbatical, you really need to conserve your energy and look inward. And sometimes when you are in that season mentally of looking inward, friends can cloud your judgment.
Yes.
I was hibernating, so a lot of my other friends didn't see me. I mean, between Joburg and Cape Town, I used to travel a lot. I mean, I live between both cities. So a lot of my friends didn't see me, but the friends I did see, I love you guys, but I really wish I didn't spend as much time with them as I did.
Yeah. And Zanele?
Thanks, Clement. I think for me, just before I answer that, the previous caller, I relate to her a lot. I was that person. My laptop would always be in my boot.
Sure.
I would be, hanging out with friends or with my family, and I'm quickly in a meeting in the evening. I'm busy doing work on weekends, until my body spoke for me because I was unable to speak for myself.
Yeah.
And that's what the body does. When you don't protect your body, your mental well-being, the body speaks for you. For me, I wouldn't change anything, really, to be quite honest, in terms of my sabbatical, because I'm still there. The only thing that I would change, I would have taken it sooner. And it goes back to the point that you highlighted, Clement, that most of the time we wait for our bodies to crash, then we start doing something. I would have protected myself against the crash because the crash was not good. The crash led to me being admitted in a clinic. Those are things that I could have prevented and not be in the state, in the position that I'm in at the moment. Maybe also just to touch on a more personal level, I could have planned better financially for my sabbatical. Like I said, for mine was not planned. I didn't know that in 2024, September, I would be starting my sabbatical. So it came with a lot of financially, you feel it. So I could have planned for it better, but nonetheless, it's okay. I'm richer in spirit and I'm richer in mind.
That's it. Richer in spirit and in mind. Oh, Shantal, Zanele, Koketso, you guys have been so brilliant. I am left inspired, and I know the listeners have also learned so much. They've been left inspired as well. So I appreciate you guys coming through to share your journey and your stories with us. Thank you so much for making time.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us, Clem.
It's a minute before 11.
Luck could be on your side when you play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 59 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Friday. That's right. Play Powerball for an estimated 33 million rand and Powerball Plus for an estimated 26 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529# for USSD. Hada, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old to play responsibly. E2 is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
Let's toast to Kumalo, Sitole and Associates.
Kumalo, that's me, a partner at the table. If I had it my way, I would have made it Kumalo, Sitole, Abo Baba Nabo Auntie, who helped with money for registration fees when I was short. And don't forget my grandfather, Umtungwa. He's usually in overalls, but today, uswenkile. They all worked hard to get me here. So kahle, they really are partners in this business.
Experience the power of mutuality. In 2024, we allocated 5.6 billion rand in profit share to our graduate professional members, because at PPS, success is better shared. Learn more at pps.co.za. PPS is a licensed life insurer, controlling company and authorized FSP.
My family's struggling with snotty noses and phlegmy coughs.
Oh no! Have you tried ACC?
ACC 600 is a convenient one-a-day effervescent tablet from 14 years of age. Or now also in a no water needed, fruity flavored sherbet-like granules that dissolve in your mouth. Ideal for the on-the-go adult. Ask for ACC 600 effervescent or oral powder at your nearest pharmacy to get rid of the snotties and phlegmings. And trust, if it doesn't say ACC, it's not ACC.
It's a minute after 11 o'clock, time for Eyewitness News. And this Eyewitness News is brought to you by Momentum. Advice is not a one-size-fits-all. Speak to a Momentum accredited financial advisor today. Advise meets your context. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Judgment in the Jocelyn Smith trial is being handed down in the Western Cape High Court this morning. The missing girl's mother, Kelly Smith, and two co-accused, Jacqueline Apollos and Stefano van Rijn, are charged with human trafficking and kidnapping in connection with the child's disappearance last year. She went missing and was last seen outside her Middlepost home. The state and defense wrapped up closing arguments this week in court, sitting at the Saldanha Bay Community Centre. Judge Nathan Erasmus kicked off proceedings this morning.
It didn't go unnoticed to me that every morning when I arrived at the venue, there were a group of mothers that were praying outside. And I'm sure they weren't the only ones that kept us in their thoughts and in their prayers during the course of a difficult time for all of us. I appreciate that.
In the Eastern Cape, the family of a student who was killed at Walter Sisulu University will appeal a court ruling preventing the media from broadcasting proceedings. Sisonke Mbolekwa died after he was shot allegedly by a residence manager at the institution during a student protest on campus in Mthatha last month. Manelisi Mapane, who is accused of pulling the trigger, is back in court today to apply for bail. Nhlanhla Mabaso is there.
A media application to cover the proceedings of this case was dismissed last week due to the sensitivity of the matter. But the family of the victim says, sensitive as it is, friends, family, and fellow students who can't make it to court must be able to follow proceedings. Family spokesperson Piwaba Madogwe.
We are making that appeal particularly because the previous judgment was based, or what we were told was that it was based on the protection of the families and on the interest of the families. But that was done, number one, without even consulting the families.
She says the family has now submitted supporting affidavits to back up the media.
So we are now saying, look, we heard you last week, but now we're saying, please allow for this to be broadcast live.
The appeal will take place shortly. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Mthatha in the Eastern Cape.
The SACP has again put forward its own proposals to cover the revenue shortfall as National Treasury goes back to the drawing board in an unprecedented budget reset. Finance Minister Inoko Dongwana is expected to table Budget 3.0 this month, making it a third attempt in as many months. The first two budgets failed following political pushback and public outcry over proposals to raise the standard VAT rate. SACP General Secretary Solly Mapaila says parts of the problem in the previous consultation rounds is that they were not included. Mapaila was speaking on the sidelines of COSATU's annual Workers' Day rally in Mpumalanga yesterday.
Essentially, bring back the company tax. You're going to get enough resources there.
deal with this question that the president of COSATU is raising about capacitating SARS. They need about 2 billion to get their things in order, and possibly the short to medium term corporate plan that they can bring us, according to the SARS commissioner, over 500 billion. So that's not a small intervention. It's an area of serious consideration.
And Apple says it is shifting production of most iPhones and other devices to be sold in the US away from China, which has been the focus of President Donald Trump's tariffs. Apple Chief Executive Tim Cook says most iPhones bound for the US market in the coming months will be made in India, while Vietnam will be a major production hub for items like iPads and Apple Watches. It comes as the tech giant estimates that US import taxes could add more than $900 million to its costs in the current quarter, despite Trump's decision to spare key electronics from the new tariffs. The Trump administration has repeatedly said it wants Apple to move production to America. Gold is trading at $3,258.66 an ounce. The rand is at 18.46 to the dollar, 24.54 to the pound, 20.90 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $62.11 a barrel.
In Selby, slow-moving traffic leaving the Joburg CBD. That's on the M2 westbound between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road. Otherwise, the rest of Gauteng not looking too bad. No accidents have been reported. Just look out for those faulty traffic lights, though, in Edenville at Modderfontein Road and Van Riebeck, as well as in Randburg at Malubongo Drive and Mahogany.
A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thunder showers expected today. The temperatures will peak at highs between 20 and 23 degrees. The developing story in Eyewitness News this hour. Judgment in the Jocelyn Smith trial is being handed down in the Western Cape High Court this morning.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, they say. But my toaster isn't broken exactly. It just lands my toast on the kitchen floor. You see, some things only kinda never work. Like a financial plan based on generic advice. That's why Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to understand you and only then apply their expertise. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Eight minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. It's adult radio this hour, so no kids allowed because it's our relationship and sex feature. We're talking about adult issues. So let's get straight into it.
Relationship issues.
Relationship talk.
On 702.
So, on our relationship and sex feature this morning, we're talking about the intersection between pain and pleasure during sex. And I know that the idea that pain could ever be pleasurable during sex might seem contradictory, right? Even alarming to some people. But for some individuals, certain types of pain not only enhance intimacy, but also deepens emotional connection and sexual satisfaction. So in today's conversation on our relationship and sex feature, we're going to explore this complex intersection between pain and pleasure during sex. So I want us to just unpack the dynamics, when pain is consensual and pleasurable, when is it a symptom of something more serious, and why communication and consent are key in navigating these experiences. And I want you to join this chat. As always, I want you to share your experiences with us. Why do you think you enjoy pain during sex. Do you enjoy pain during sex? Or maybe you do experience pain, but it's not pleasurable pain, and you're wondering what could be wrong. Give us a call on 011-883-0702 to join this conversation. Otherwise, send us a voice note on 072-702-1702. Dr. Mpume Zenda is a sexologist and an OB/GYN joining us in studio. Welcome back, Dr. Zenda. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. How you
AKA
doing?
Dr. Gynae.
Let's do this.
Yeah, someone in studio earlier said their friend call you Dr. Sex.
Yeah, man, Dr. Sex, the sex worker, bring it all on.
Yeah.
This is the job I do and love, so
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here.
What an important conversation
Yeah.
we're having this morning.
Yeah.
And I say important because for some people, there are people who are surprised as to why they actually enjoy pain during sex. But there are also people who are on the other side who experience pain, but it's not pleasurable. And they wonder, I feel this person. I'm attracted to them.
Yeah.
But yet when I have sex with them, I feel pain, and I don't often feel this pleasure everybody talks about.
Yeah.
So maybe let's just start there. When we talk about pain during sex, what are we talking about, and why is pain sometimes experienced as pleasure in sexual context, and why is it sometimes just something you must take seriously and attend to?
Absolutely. It's such an important one, Clement, because as many as about 75% of women have experienced some kind of pain during sex. Now, as you rightfully say, there is a type of pain that is consensual, that is wanted, that is desired, and that translates as pleasurable for many people, and that's perfectly fine. But for a lot of the times when pain is unwanted and it actually hinders your ability to experience pleasure, then there is a problem there. And there could be a number of things underlying that where pain is not wanted. It could be something that is coming from the psychological aspect. If you've had a traumatic event, during a sexual intercourse at some point in your life, that may psychologically present itself as something that hinders your ability to experience pleasure. But also medical conditions. Something as simple as just having a yeast infection can cause inflammation, which makes it more painful to have intercourse. Something, changing in the bodies, particularly for women. If you are either postpartum, post-delivery, during menopause, there is such a decrease in the estrogen. It drops down your ability to lubricate. If you don't lubricate well, sex is painful. If sex is painful, you start avoiding. So there is this tension between pain and pleasure. And the biggest thing that the take home I always say to people is, if it's not wanted, then let's attend to it. If it's not something that you are enjoying, let's attend to it. If there's underlying gynae conditions, endometriosis is a big one. A lot of people who struggle with endometriosis, one of the big signs is that they will experience excruciating pain that actually ends up causing this loop of avoidance and then sort of like the breakdown in the sexual relationship with their partner.
Yeah.
So always make sure that if it's unwanted, let's go and get it checked out and see if there's something else underlying there.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about the wanted pain now.
Yes.
Some people think, oh my God, was I maybe sexually violated when I was a child? And is that why I have this affinity or relationship with pain?
Yeah.
I've heard a woman who once called in and said, I do not enjoy it until I feel that pleasurable pain.
Yeah.
And sometimes she would say, when I tell my husband, do this to me, and the husband will say, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to hurt you. And she says, no, I want you to. So how do we explain that? Because sometimes we try to bring psychology into it.
Yeah.
And sometimes some people think maybe it's because they've experienced something when they were young where they were violated and they forgot about that pain, and it's now resurfacing in this way.
Yeah. I want to say, Clement, first and foremost, not all wanting to experience some level of pain is hinged on a traumatic experience in the past. In fact, when you look at the neuroscience or the neurobiology of pain and pleasure, they actually are two greatest motivators in our lives in a lot of things. It doesn't necessarily have to be sex. Food, we eat because it's pleasurable, but it also kind of brings us back to that what we call that equilibrium or homeostasis of, okay, now I'm full, I'm fine, I feel comfortable. The discomfort of hunger causes us, so the pain very often incentivizes us to either get to a point of some level of equilibrium or pleasure. And if you think of even the way that we get addicted to things, they both play on that dopamine, that reward system. So, for example, athletes may be able to endure a lot of training, pain, or uncomfortability because the pleasure of winning or the pleasure of getting to that race and is bigger. And so when the pleasure incentive is higher than the pain threshold, we kind of say, well, I'm going to bear this little pain so that I can get to the reward. So some people during sexual intimacy as well may experience and enjoy some level of play, whether it's in the form of kink or just in the way that the sexual intimacy is going, because it's like that build up for them that gives them the intensity of the pleasure on the other side. So it's not necessarily pathological. Where I often then caution and say, go and have a look at what has happened in the past, is if after that experience, one, there are negative feelings of shame, of guilt, of feeling like that is not who you are, but also if your partner is concerned about, the experience, like you spoke about a husband who's like, but I don't want to strangle you, I don't want to do that,
I want to slap you,
or slap you. The other thing that becomes very important, and I think people need to watch out for it, is when you can no longer have just sexual intimacy and pleasure outside of experiencing that pleasure first, then I think there is room to go and have a look with a professional, a psychologist, a sexologist, if there's anything underlying there. As soon as something bothers you, attend to it.
Yeah. So how do emotional context, trust, and even control affect the perception of pain then during sex? Is it something that you do it with anyone? Like if you meet someone and you have sex with them, there's nothing serious, or is it something you do with someone you trust? Because sometimes you need to be able to go, okay, hold off because it's getting too painful.
Yeah.
Badibitang, what words? What are those words you can say in BDSM? Like they say, what do they call them? If it's too painful.
Oh yes. A safe word.
Safe word.
Safe word. Yes.
Safe word. So do you need someone, and is it something you must discuss first, or can you just in that moment of sex and say, I want you to do this because you want the pain? Or is it best to discuss it first that this is what I like, and when I'm in that moment, I want you to do it. And when you do it to a point where I can't take it, then this is my safe word.
Yeah. So the in an ideal world is that we talk about these things before, during, and after. And also it's very tricky to explain a whole lot of those things in a one night stand, somebody you don't know very well. Very often, and maybe let me go back and say, when there is increased emotional connection and communication between two people, when they get to that place of sexual intimacy, you find that it's a lot easier for them to have deeper connection during sex, be able to communicate when they are uncomfortable. You would be so surprised how many women don't ever say to their partner, it's too painful. They are either embarrassed, or there is a shame, or there is, I don't know, I don't want to disappoint, I don't want to be the weak person in this. So a lot of the times, in as much as we can say in an ideal world, ideally we should be talking about this before, during, and after, but so often people really struggle to have these conversations. So I would say, to protect yourself and also just to safeguard your partner, the best thing you can do is, once you understand yourself, because like I said, it could be something where it's just an infection for a moment and you're like, okay, can we hold off? Let's take off penetration because I'm feeling this way.
Yeah.
And feel comfortable and confident to say that to your partner. A lot of people struggle even with simple things like that. Or I've got endometriosis. I was diagnosed with endometriosis. And so I understand what that feels like for me during intimacy. Ideally, I want to be able to tell you before. But like I said, a lot of the times we are like, I want this guy. I really want this relationship to work. So we kind of trial it. I've had people who've got vaginismus in a relationship for years, have never had penetrative intercourse. And you find the one partner is so devastated because it's like, but we dated for so long. You gave me other reasons for us not being intimate. And now that we are either married and I'm kind of locked into this is not what I signed up for. It is unfair for us not to communicate with our partners.
Yeah, and I want you maybe to share with us some of the other options available for especially women who may go through, who have got those conditions that make it just so, and the pain is just unbearable to a point that you can't have penetrative sex.
Yes.
What other options are available for them? 011-883-0702. We also want to hear from you. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. We're talking about that intersection between pain and pleasure during sex. Do you feel pain during sex? Do you have, some of these conditions that Dr. Zenda was speaking about? Have you been diagnosed? Is it something you're suspecting and you want to ask Dr. Zenda what it could be? What kind of pain do you feel during sex? If it's unbearable, but also if it's bearable, if it's pleasurable pain, do you actually enjoy that? Maybe do you have a partner who wants pain during sex? How are you navigating that in your relationship? Give us a call on 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. It's 21 minutes now after 11.
Follow 702 on X
at Radio 702.
Do you have the pace to ace the race? The 3 million rand race. It's the one and only Spinner Zonke jackpot race, and it's exclusive to Hollywood Bets. Feel the heat from the hottest slots as you seek to spin your way to fabulous fortunes and precious prizes. A thrilling 3 million rand is up for grabs every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday when you hunt for hidden treasures and spin for big wins. Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bets supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Get unbeatable deals this Easter from Vodacom, Mzansi's fastest 5G network, like the Huawei Nova 13. Get yours today on a 1.4 gig red core plan for only 449 Rand per month over 36 months. Save 1,800 Rand. Enhance your deal when you add 129 Rand extra per month and get the Watch GT5. Available in-store and online. T's and C's apply. Further together. Vodacom.
Every thriving business starts the same way with someone who dares to dream. If that's you, 702 and Standard Bank's MyMobiz business account want to back your next bold move. Every week we'll spotlight 4 of Gauteng's boldest entrepreneurs and give them a chance to win 25,000 Rand to boost their business. And if you already bank smart with a Standard Bank business account, that becomes 50,000 Rand. To enter, hit primemediaplus.com and tell us your growth aspiration, and our cash injection could unlock your next level of success. Next week, tune in to 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa, weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. to hear if your business is in the running. It's time to rise and thrive with Standard Bank's MyMobiz business account. TCs and more at primemediaplus.com.
Relationship issues?
Relationship Talk
On 702.
All right, it's 23 minutes now after 11 o'clock. On our relationship feature this morning, we are talking about the intersection between pain and pleasure during sex. Do you feel pain during sex? And what's the reason for that? Is it because of any of the conditions? I can't even pronounce the conditions. What? Vaginismus.
Vaginismus.
And then the other one was
endometriosis.
Yeah. If maybe you're suspecting that you may be someone who is suffering from these conditions and you're not sure, but you've been seeing that, Ayman, when you're having sex with your partner, you feel a lot of pain, and you maybe have a question for Dr. Gaini, Dr. Mpume Zenda. You can call us or you can send us a WhatsApp voice note and we'll attend to that question. I also want you to share your own experiences. Maybe your partner is the one who actually enjoys pain during sex, or is the partner is the one who really feels unbearable pain during sex, and you want to know how you can navigate that, the number to dial is 011-883-0702. Alternatively, you can send a WhatsApp on 072-702-1702.
Sure, Mr. Clement. Hey, once again. So, topic ya today ka utlwa braya ka utlwa. Yeah, ish, yangichaza bona. So, during sex, o tshwere motho wa gago le le busy mo beteng mo la ntsa screama a go eletsa mo le o ka re utlwa botlhokonyana so ka chazeka o bona ka thaba le nna so e bontsha gore what's again ka bontsha gore le nna ke na le matla so bona wa o didimala sa e recipe so ya bora mbra ya bora sentse le ka screaming yana utlwa botlhokonyana so yeah o bua le tshepo mo mabopane mo. Danko.
Thank you, Tsepo. I hear that a lot when we have this conversation, Dr. Gaini, of guys who say, if she's not screaming in a heterosexual context, if she's not screaming and is feeling pain, they don't feel like they're doing the job. They don't feel like they are pleasuring their partners or whoever they're having sex with. Because for them to show that Benza lies, you must be in pain, and I must see you to be in pain.
Yeah, that is very contradictory. As common as it is, it's very contradictory because one of the things you want your partner to feel during intimacy is pleasure.
Yeah.
What is it about your partner experiencing pain gives you pleasure? Again, we spoke about consent. Now, when they are screaming, you have to understand, are they screaming because they are in pain or are they screaming because they are enjoying what you're doing? There is this notion, I mean, something as simple as a lot of guys believe the harder and faster I go, the more enjoyable it is. And I'm like, no. The vagina has think of it as like a silk lining. So in the same way that the front of the penis or the glans penis can be very sensitive. Imagine somebody just rubbing it or kind of abusing it in a way that is now uncomfortable for you. And the reality is when a woman kind of crosses that boundary between pain and pleasure a lot of the times is that they check out. So if I was enjoying what you're doing and then it bordered on, okay, now it's uncomfortable, that stimulating, whether it's clitoral stimulation, whether it's penetration that's now too hard and painful, as soon as I'm experiencing pain, I shut down emotionally and I check out. So the very thing that you were trying to get from me, which was to make me experience pleasure, you've gone on the other side. The question is then, how do you regulate guys or, let's say, it could even be women for that matter, when somebody is the one who enjoys seeing you in pain? The concern with that is, you see, when you look at actually, a lot of people frown upon things like BDSM, but actually there's a lot of very strict rules in how that work, that dominance and submission. Yes, but there's a lot of protective rules around how those people who practice proper BDSM do it. Whereas in this case, when we just, this freestyling of I want you to feel pain, we can play with things that are dangerous or that are uncomfortable for your partner and risk actually causing negative effect on our relationship.
Yeah. What is the influence of pornography? Because some people also just watch porn and they see women being strangled and and they're just screaming in pain and the guys are just hitting hard and they think, that's the way to do it. Actually, that's how the woman loves it. But in fact, also women are different. Men are different.
Exactly.
What the next person finds pleasurable because they're humping faster doesn't mean that's going to be the case here.
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest fallacies again is what we see in porn. I often say, if you think about it, even just 1 minute of that scene, it has been shot 1,000 times for many hours. They've gotten professionals. Everything they've edited. Everything is kind of exaggerated to heighten the stimulation that you have, but it's not real. And so I often discourage couples. I know I'm not going to be very popular I discourage people and couples, if you are curious about porn and do it with your partner.
Yeah. Try it with your partner.
Take your own videos and stuff. And the thing is, if you are not communicating with them, if you just copy and paste what I saw and then you want to come and try it at home, you have to look at your partner and be like, do they have the stamina of what you saw? And did I even ask them, do you enjoy this?
Yes. Would you like to
try this?
Yeah.
It's one thing if you're like, baby, as you've seen, this style looks very interesting. Let's try it. But also when you're like, let's try it, you're trying it in your own way and you're not saying to your partner, be basically like a copy and paste of that porn star that you were watching.
But also, I mean, the influence of porn is not even just on styles and, positions. It's like even the language.
Exactly.
Like you start calling your poor wife words that, where did you get that?
Where did you?
And does she or he want to be called a B during sex? Does he want to be called this during sex? But because people watch porn so much, whatever the guy does there or woman says there, it's like they take and they bring it into their bedrooms. And we forget that we're different people. That is done for show.
Yeah.
This is a reality. It's 11:30 now. Let's get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. I see lots of your WhatsApp voice notes coming through and your texts, your calls as well on 011-883-0702. We'll start with them after the headlines as we continue this conversation about the intersection between pain and pleasure during sex. Sfiso. No, it's not Sfiso. Bali. Good morning.
Thanks, Clement. A very good morning. Judgment in the Jocelyn Smith trial is being handed down by the Western Cape High Court, sitting at the Saldanha Bay Community Centre in the Western Cape. The missing girl's mother, Kelly Smith, and two co-accused, Jacqueline Paulus and Stefano van Rijn, are charged with human trafficking and kidnapping in connection with the child's disappearance. The child went missing last year and was last seen outside her home in Middelbos. In the Eastern Cape, the case against the man accused of shooting dead a student at the Walter Sisulu University has now been postponed. A power outage led to the postponement this morning. Sisonke Mbolegwa died after he was shot, allegedly by a residence manager at the institution during a student protest on campus in Mthatha last month. And security has been beefed up in Pretoria, where the EFF is preparing to march to the Kleinfontein whites-only community. The Red Berets are set to head to that community in the far east of Tshwane today in protest against what they describe as an Orania-like settlement. Those are the headlines, this EWN and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, if you're leaving Soweto, Naturena area heading towards Vereeniging, there's slow-moving traffic. N1 South, that's between the N12 and the R558. So please allow for extra traveling time, or rather just use the Golden Highway as an alternative. That will save you some time. Otherwise, the rest of Gauteng not looking too bad. No major accidents or delays have been reported. However, if you are leaving the Joburg CBD, there's still slow-moving traffic. This is on the M2 westbound between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road. Also in the Randburg area, expect delays on Malibongo Drive. This is on Malibongo Drive between the N1 and Rocky Street. It looks like there's an accident scene there. If you come across any other traffic issues, please SMS us on 31702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Relationship issues?
Relationship talk.
On 702.
11:33. Let's continue with our conversation on our relationship and sex feature. Remember, this is adult radio, so if you've got kids with you in the car, you may just want to switch off or just give them headphones to listen to something else. We're talking about the intersection between pain and pleasure during sex. There are some people who do find pain pleasurable, and if you are that kind of person, I'd like you to share with us, what kind of pain do you find pleasurable? Are you a type of person that loves the slapping, the thrusting, the strangling? What is it that you enjoy about pain during sex? And if you are maybe on the other side and you experience a lot of pain and it's not pleasurable, maybe you're scared to even tell your partner, or maybe you can tell that your partner is in pain, but you never really talk about it because she doesn't want to disappoint you. give us a call. And Dr. Gaini has dealt with many of these kind of cases, and maybe she can give you some tips on what to do next. 011-883-0702 is the number to dial. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702.
Me, in my case, I don't like painful sex, and I'm blessed with a partner that also understands. When I start to feel pain, I do communicate, and he listens, and he would ask, do you want us to stop? Maybe do you want us to change the position, whether it's through penetration at the time or maybe through thrusting. Once I start to feel any discomfort, I would just tell him that, you know what, I can't continue. And yeah, at times, I do persevere, if I may put it that way. And he would just thrust so hard. And when he's about to come, he would choke me. I'd be like, Aibo, why are you harming me now? What's going on? But we would laugh about it. But in all honesty, when the pain is intense, I do tell him that I can't bear. And then we would stop right there and attend to it, so that going forward, we know what is it that I like and what is it that I don't like. Nothing beats communication. Thanks for the show.
I love that. Communication. Because some people will say, yeah, but you're messing up the mood.
No, communicate. But I love the balance of her knowing, her red zones where it's like, safe word now, okay, this is not working. But also to understand that, let's be fair as well, in the heat of the moment, there is also something about that pleasure that kind of lessens the amount of pain you actually perceive. So you'll find a lot of women will complain about the pain after the intercourse. Like, I didn't realize how rough the intimacy was until afterwards. That's because of
all side effects now.
It's not even side effects. It's just because during the time of the amount of dopamine, the amount of the hormones, just that high of it, that your pain sensory is much more dumbed down compared. So there is some level of discomfort, but if you are still okay with it and the comfortability to know the difference between something that is now, okay, this is painful, I cannot go on, and something where it's like, okay, I know my person is and they are like about to come, and you're like, okay, let me give you your moment, have your moment.
Because it's brief,
Yeah, there's a give and take, and knowing that it's in a safe environment and there's nothing malicious about what they are doing.
Yeah.
Hi, Clement. So yeah, Nzeke Mami's the topic for today. So I actually want to ask something, with the pain, are we only referring to women? Do men also go through that pain? And if so, what could be the cause on a man? Because, if a man was a lady or happy, so it's kind of embarrassing. But yeah, so I just want to find out, or can a man also be in that position? Maybe during childhood he went through some things. So yeah, I think that's my question. I know there might be pain because of the man who just got some cut or whatever, but is there any other pain on woman that can make him or undergo that pain during intercourse? Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. I must say, Dr. Zenda, before previously in other conversations on this feature, we've had men who call in and say, I want, when the woman gives me like oral sex, I want them to really do it harder, like to a point where they feel a bit of pain. Some of them have said if the woman is on top, we've had stories of how it could break. Yeah, and they're like, break it.
No, we don't want to, because that's an injury. You're going to end up in the ER and with the urologist. I'm so glad he brought up the thing of men also experiencing pain. I said earlier on, as common as pain is during intercourse, it's not normal unless it is wanted type of pain, and it increases your enjoyment and pleasure of sexual intimacy. So men could have pain from just, again, and a simple infection, a urinary tract infection, a sexually transmitted infection, but also there could be other serious things. And when there is pain that has not been there before, but even if it has been there, if it's been a persistent pain, please go and have it checked out. And it is okay for a man, as a man, for you to say, this position is uncomfortable. This is not, oral sex. A lot of guys complain about how, women sometimes just don't get it right. The same way that, we often talk about the lining of the vagina being sensitive, the glans penis or the front can be very sensitive. Handle with care. Some people, if you've had a binge weekend of sexual intimacy, you'll find that just the overuse or the having had sex for so long, let's say 2-3 times a day for the whole weekend, can cause some kind of inflammation, and as if you've kind of peeled off that skin on the top. Give yourself time to just let it heal. And I'll never stop saying, always use lots of lube. This idea that dry sex is more pleasurable, or that actually increases the amount of pain, the amount of cuts that you're likely to have, and as a result will cause other problems.
I want us to return to that before we wrap up this conversation, because it's so important. You've stressed it before when we've had these kind of conversations on the show. Surely men must also be able to say, okay, even let's say oral sex, no, stop using your teeth because you're hurting me.
Yes.
Now they must be scared because what? You're seen as, communicate.
Communicate. I just always say, especially with your person, because we know that's a very sensitive, sensual space, be kind in your words, you know, and you can quickly gauge, I'd like to believe you can quickly gauge if somebody kind of like just has no idea what they are doing. Be a good teacher. Slow down. Guide them and say, baby, I like it like this. I like it like that. You spoke about the whole thing of, some guys wanting, oral sex or to be pleasured by their partners to a point where it's like harder. And that's fine. Sometimes what happens is if somebody masturbates a lot, and remember also men have got a bit more muscle. So when they are masturbating by themselves versus when, say, for example, their lady partner is trying to, it might feel like, you're doing marshmallows here, please. Can you give me like a vacuum? I need like a vacuum kind of feeling. There's nothing wrong with somebody expressing the type of sensation that they want, as long as it's comfortable for them. And you as the partner are still also quite comfortable in the space.
Morning, Clement and the team. I won't lie to you. I like to be spanked. I like being choked or strangled just a little bit because it gives you this pleasure of wanting to actually thrust back and respond back. So it just does something to arouse you as well as woman. I don't know if it's because it's got to do with masculine energy or what, but it makes the sex even more nicer.
Hi, Clement. I like rough sex. I actually do. I like to be left feeling like I've had sex. I don't want, I want to take 2 to 3 days without having it. I need that feeling, that pain in my vagina that, I've had so much sex and I can take 2 to 3 days off. I don't know. I like that. I'm that type of person.
Hi, Clement. So for me, with my ex-partner, I used to enjoy spanking and he didn't like it. So because for him, it's like when you spank him, it's like he's a B, the B word. So it's kind of like affected the overall experience for me. If I couldn't do that.
Oh man, that's so sad. I've often heard, Dr. Zana, people who call and they say they're dating people who are conservative.
Yes.
Maybe you're dating a pastor or a religious leader or someone who's respected, and you're like, in the bedroom, I don't need a pastor. I need you to be my person. And some people are not getting that because they're like, no, you're treating me like a bee when you spank. How do you navigate that?
Oh, Clement, whether we like it or not, our social and cultural context matters. Our education, our open-mindedness, our experiences, our preferences, all of these things we take them all into the bedroom with our partners. Again, it kind of circles back to communication. Communicate who you are as well to the next person. I often say always divide your, sort of like a traffic light. The reds, the yellows, and the greens. Green is, I'm comfortable with this, I'm happy, let's go. The amber or yellow are more the things where you're like, well, if you like that, great. It doesn't bother me in any way. And then you've got your non-negotiables, things that are absolutely like, I don't like this, do not try this, because then you're giving your partner a map in terms of how to navigate you and your sexual life together without triggering each other, without, for example, someone else, the guy who just spoke about the fact that when he used to spank the partner, they used to feel like they are, again, that speaks of perception, because another person, maybe like the girl earlier on, the lady earlier on was like, I like rough sex. I like it when he spanked me. It arouses me. So it's also our perception and the meaning we have attached to things. If I've attached, dirty to sex or to BDSM, then chances are I'm not going to enjoy that. So give the person in front of you, at the very least, the liberty to be themselves and make sure that you are also showing up as all of you.
Absolutely. Okay, there's some texts as well that have come through. Nkasa in Johannesburg says, thank you for this great topic, Clement. My partner experiences pain during sex and I don't think it's pleasurable for her. However, she insists on me not stopping. So how do I initiate a conversation where we may see if there could be a medicinal cause for the pain? I think she hates to be the cause of us not having pleasurable sex, and I want her to know her comfort is important as mine. Oh, what a thoughtful man.
I know, so beautiful. And I think maybe one of the things you guys have to do, yes, have the conversation outside of the bedroom whilst you're having breakfast and be like, babe, I noticed 1, 2, 3. It bothers me because now it's also affecting the partner themselves. That's why they are concerned. And again, a lot of people don't not seek out help because they just, are complacent and they don't want to. A lot of the times people don't know who to go to or where to go. I would say for the lady, the first point of reference would be go see your gynae. And even if your gynae does not ask you about your sexual pleasure and what's happening in the bedroom, you must bring that up as something that is important to you. The worst thing is going through, one time I had a client who said they've been faking an orgasm for almost like 20 years of marriage.
Sure.
And it was such a heartbreak moment for both of them when she was finally like, I'm done doing this. I'm not faking any orgasms anymore. I'm not enjoying this. And he was devastated because of the betrayal of, how can you lie to me for 20 years? She thought she was doing something to help him, but in turn, it was hurtful. So do not hide. If it is painful, pain is not normal. Pain is common. Go and see somebody, unless it's pain that you are inflicting and you're both consensual about it.
Yeah.
Hey, Clement. So I like rough sex occasionally, right? Choke me, spank me, go hard. I usually say to my partner, give it to me like you don't love me, like you want to kill me or something. But that's occasional, not all the time. And I think that's why it's great, because it's not every day. And so me and my partner watch porn together. And I think it's because I want to live the reality of what I see in porn and experience that myself. And I think, but to the doctor's point, in the moment it feels great, but afterwards, my lower abdomen it just then feels uncomfortable and I need like recovery time. But I checked with my gynae, nothing is wrong, but I would feel pain afterwards, but I still go back.
Yeah, there's consent there.
Yeah,
So
there's consent.
tick. There's pleasure, tick. There's communication because they
Sounds like
watch porn together. Okay. Max C says, hi Clement, I once had a girlfriend who during sex would repeatedly wail, give me pain, give me pain. She enjoyed vicious, deep thrusting. That's a message from Max in Pretoria. Is it okay for some men to also say, I'm sorry, I'm uncomfortable with
1,000%
exerting
yes.
so much pain on you?
Yeah. And especially in an ongoing long relationship, don't ignore that. I'm not saying that under every give me pain, kame is, a tombstone of trauma. But if it's something that is repeatedly coming through, and especially if you're uncomfortable with it, in fact, even if you're not as a partner, I think we are sometimes too passive about the things that we experience in our relationships because we are too afraid to rock the boat, or I don't want to go there with them and stuff. A lot of people have experienced some really hard things, and you don't know that you could be the partner that, like the guy was saying, I am a safe space for you. A lot of people have never experienced a safe space to be able to say, actually, this comes from 1, 2, 3. Or if they're not aware, actually, I've never had a partner who cares about me in the way that they are willing for me to go and get help. They've been in a relationship where the way that they were shown love was through painful intercourse, maybe, was through some kind of torture in the relationship. And so that experience of someone caring and saying, no, it's not okay for you to experience pain, let's go find help, could very well be a foreign concept for them. So be a safe space, not just for yourself, but for your partner.
Yeah. Anonymous says, hi, Clement. Most of the time I enjoy some rough sex with choking and spanking, and my partner knows that, and he also enjoys that. Now the challenge arises when I want vanilla sex. What is vanilla sex?
It's plain old, simple, nothing. Yeah, vanilla. It's
just ordinary. Okay.
What is ordinary?
Okay, I've never had that. I swear, I've never heard of a vanilla
It's
sex.
like a vanilla relationship. It's like sort of like very traditional, what we used to
okay,
no
so nothing.
frills.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They
Just
call
like
it vanilla.
pretty much like missionary.
Oh, just missionary.
In out.
We're
done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We're learning. Okay, so he says that the problem arises when I want vanilla sex and it's foreign for him. I feel like I'm depriving him of his pleasure. Yeah, but also, I mean, if she also sometimes doesn't want the rough, I just want vanilla today. I mean, surely he can indulge her.
And nicely, she talks about vanilla. Sex is like food. Sometimes you want a quick snack. Sometimes you want a buffet. Sometimes you want, just very soft, ice creamish, like easy cuddle type of sex. It is totally okay. And particularly for women, because of our changing hormones in our cycles, very often we want a different kind of feel from our sexual intimacy. Top of the hour in terms of ovulation, we are likely to want something more rough and, energetic. Closer to...
is that during ovulation?
Yes, during ovulation, because that's when we peak in our testosterone and our estrogen. But closer to our period, you find that we are more tender. The things that were nice 1 or 2 weeks ago are not so nice anymore. So we want more cuddly, more softer, and we feel the pain or a discomfort more premenstrually than we do during ovulation. So be mindful of those subtle changes that are happening in your body as well, so that you can't give a girl the same kind of sex every single time.
Yeah, men, pay attention to your woman's cycle.
Totally.
And how they respond.
You should have the cycle tracker, actually.
Yeah.
Keep the cycle tracker.
Yeah. Miss Lee says, Clement, I really enjoy pain with pleasure. It gives me the ultimate orgasm. The trick to enjoying the pain for me is to be fully lubricated, to your point, Dr. Gaini. If not, it becomes so painful to even walk after intimacy. So communication is key. On the other hand, I've experienced a partner in the past who took it personally as being a terrible lover when I stopped because of too much pain, which I just couldn't handle. Some men use sex as part of some control tactic. Once again, communication is key. She's raising that issue of lubrication.
Yeah. Lubricate, and anybody who makes you feel uncomfortable about yourself, about them, it's okay to say, it's not for me.
Yeah. Another one says, Clement, thank you so much for touching on this topic. A really great one, by the way. I broke up with a guy I was with because he called me my little girl during sex. I don't know, but something about how he said it did not sit well with me as a mom. Yeah, you see what we were saying earlier.
Exactly.
That you go watch things and then you think they're going to be applicable here.
No.
But then what do I say? Do I ask first that, hey, do you mind if I call you my little girl during sex?
Look, very often these things will pop out unexpectedly. We were talking about this off air. And so when it comes up for the first time and you feel that discomfort, do not tuck it under the carpet because things are so nice at that moment. Raise it. Even if it is a matter of raising it afterwards, raise it and say, that did not make me feel comfortable. Where does that come from? And then you debate it from there. I think, again, back to the negotiables, non-negotiables, it really doesn't bother me. If it's something that really bothers you to a point of she broke up with the guy, then it's something that she really didn't enjoy. And maybe there's something very... It's almost like she's insinuating some pedophile like tendency.
Because she also says I'm a mom.
I'm a mom,
like,
yeah.
You're calling me a little girl? Okay, M says, hi, Clem. Orang, isn't painful, uncomfortable sex a lack of excitement, which in turn increases vaginal dryness, usually from estrogen deficiency? Please, can you ask the doctor to explain? Do you get the question? So, saying, isn't painful, uncomfortable sex a lack of excitement, so which in turn increases vaginal dryness? So is it that when you are not excited about sex, then that's when it becomes painful and uncomfortable?
Okay, so I think I'm understanding what she's saying. So you can get pain as a result. So if you've got low libido, which is excitement, which is sex drive, now we're talking about that sex cycle where first it's that excitement or sex drive or the wanting. But what that does, then it stimulates your body to lubricating. And very often you'll find, particularly we spoke about postpartum women, women in their peri and post-menopause and postmenopausal, because of the drop in estrogen, you'll find that they've got a low libido. And over and above that, that causes the vaginal lining has thinned out. And so they experience pain, not because they don't want to be lubricated or they don't want to be. There is a medical condition underlying, which is the menopause or the hormonal change. So that's why lube becomes important. Please, especially even if you are perimenopausal between like 38 to 48, go and see your gynae. Ask them to check what your bloods are doing, your sex hormones are doing. Let them check what your total testosterone is, because that is something we're seeing a lot of, and it's causing a lot of discomfort in the bedroom. So yes, pain as a result of medical things and hormonal changes can occur, and it has affected that sexual cycle, lubrication and desire.
Okay, just quickly, we've got 20 seconds left. Someone is asking, does public clinic help when you feel pain during sex? Can they go to a public clinic?
You can go, especially just to make sure that you get a referral to a gynae, because they've got a way that they do their referral system.
And then someone else says, Clement, ask the doctor, they have been battling with pain during sex for nearly 2 years now. I had pleasurable, painless sex for 4 months, and then one day it just became painful and so uncomfortable from initial penetration to thrusting. Everything just hurts. I am young, 26 years old, and I've tried everything. I've spent over 8,000 Rand this year on doctors, medications, etc., and nothing has helped. I was diagnosed with PCOS 3 years ago, but I don't know if it's what's causing it. I've become extremely hopeless.
Yeah, I would say for this one, please, if you can, get hold of me, come and see me. We've got a group of sexual health workers, and sometimes you need more than just one person, a sexologist, a gynae, a therapist, a physio. There's a number of things that I'm already suspecting with her, but we need context and examination and understanding where it's coming from.
All right, go check out Dr. Mpume Zenda or Dr. Gynae. She's there on the socials, and maybe just make sure you go see her. Dr. Zenda, thank you, as always.
It's always a pleasure.
It's 2 minutes before 12.
My family's struggling with snotty noses and phlegmy coughs.
Oh no! Have you tried ACC?
ACC 600 is a convenient one-a-day effervescent tablet from 14 years of age, or now also in a no water needed fruity flavored sherbet-like granules that dissolve in your mouth. Ideal for the on-the-go adult. Ask for ACC 600 effervescent or oral powder at your nearest pharmacy to get rid of the snotties and phlegmings. And trust. If it doesn't say ACC, it's not ACC.
Running a small business doesn't mean you face small problems. That's why you need Smart SME by Santam. It's tailor-made insurance built for small businesses. Even you, the plumber whose vehicle becomes a food truck on weekends, or you, the beautician, wearing many hats. We cover the all in small business. Visit santam.co.za or SMS Smart SME to 34852 to get a quote. Santam, this is freedom. Santam is an authorized FSP, a licensed non-life insurer and controlling company for its group companies.
Some walks are just for exercise, others for leisure. But this walk is for something greater.
Team building.
This July, you won't just take a step, you'll take a stand. You'll walk through history. You'll walk with it. On Sunday, 27 July, the 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane, returns. It's a route that winds through the heart and soul of our capital city. From the sacred grounds of Freedom Park to the powerful steps of the Union buildings. Choose the 8 kilometer for those walking strong, the 6.7 kilometer in honor of Mandela Month, or the 4 kilometer for families and first-timers. Entries are 360 Rand for adults, 200 Rand for children under 12. Enter now on primemediaplus.com. 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane, is where footsteps become footprints.
Coming up next, the Midday Report with Jane standing in for Mendy. Jane, what's popping today?
Afternoon, the judgment in the Jocelyn Smith trial. An economist who says South Africa is rushing towards a serious disaster, and Bossa is leading a picket against proposed tariff hikes in Cape Town that could affect people by 20% increase.
All right.
A lot more.
That's and a whole lot more with Jane Dutton in for Mendy Winner. Thank you so much for listening to the Friday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. We'll be back with you on Monday between 9 and 12. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Judgment in the Jocelyn Smith trial is being handed down in the Western Cape High Court sitting in Saldanha Bay today. The missing girl's mother, Kelly Smith, and 2 co-accused, Jaquina Paulus and Stefano van Rijn, are charged with human trafficking and kidnapping in connection with the child's disappearance last year.